Elderly hands shuffle a deck of cards. Discordant music plays across a wasteland of broken stones. A fire-propelled cart races across red sands, dragging tortured souls behind it. The icy cold of the deepest hate freezes water solid just from passing. A weeping celestial longs for freedom. Thousands of treasures collected, and none can compare to the one item the collector holds most dear. A daughter keeps a secret from her father that might change the world, and a Dolores bell clangs in the otherwise featureless fog-choked sea. What do these things have in common? For now, they're only rumors, but perhaps they hold hope. So you guys, when we last left off, you had fought your way into Echidna's throne room, and she, along with you and 7 other adventuring parties, has kind of offered up a deal to be struck, and all parties seem willing to accept only because you really don't have a whole lot of other choices.
Yeah.
You could stay in her throne room forever until you perish of starvation or whatever else brings to you first, or you can try and find the Rod of the Deceiver, the brass scepter that was lost in the Sea of Styx when Echidna and Asmodeus got into a tangle eons and eons ago when he turned her husband to stone and locked her away inside of him. She is offering you all freedom if one of your groups can find it. You guys have any questions before we get into the specifics of it?
Can I pull out our elder's rocking chair and just start telling a story?
I do not believe you can because you no longer have a bag of holding.
I know.
So therefore, your elder's rocking chair is at the keep or on Fazragol, or it's in some other notable place of
So
size.
sad.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
Let's do the smart thing here and ask Echidna if she can acquire us a bag of holding since we've been without one for so long, and for some reason we just haven't cared. And that's really weird for me.
That's really weird for the you and I both.
She would tell you that she gave you 250 soul coins, and you should be able to acquire that item in any of the cities in Avernus.
Did each
Well, not any
party
of
member got 250, or did the party as a whole?
Each party member got 250 soul coins.
Oh,
Before we buy bag of holding here, would Marilee or someone at the Mage's Tower be able to make one for us?
Probably
We have
when you
access
get
to
back.
them.
Right, we wouldn't be able to do it right now, but I imagine we would probably get a better deal if we bought this somewhere other than in hell.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that whole like need over desire thing,
I would prefer...
and we don't know what it's like out there yet. It might be a great place. You're awfully judgy for somebody who's never been here.
How does Mav feel, or how does the Order feel about using soul coins?
Oh, it's not. I mean, you do what you got to do sometimes, and you do know that transactions between the heavens and the 9 hells do happen. That's at certain points in time due to cosmic bizarreness. There have even been tenuous alliances. And so if the circumstances bode right, yes. But typically it's a super bad job. It's not something you want to do.
are the coins groaning?
No.
Not yet.
Can
No,
they be?
if you look at the coins, instead of like a president's face, it's just somebody's face in agony.
yes, that's exactly what I'm going for.
Well, part 2 of that statement is accurate, but they do not make noise.
Oh boy.
They are reddish tinted. They definitely remind you as if they're covered in blood because the red colorization is not consistent. It's real splotchy.
Has there ever, and this is probably not a question I would ask in game, but Has there ever been any way to restore these back to people and not coins?
Not that I think any of you would, even with an amazing history check, would know.
Okay.
It exists, but we don't know about it.
Yeah, like to some degree, like Mav would have known that the planes, in particular, the Hells, had their own style of doing things and currencies, but he probably wouldn't have known or had any instruction on soul coins at all.
Okay.
So if I didn't have it, does Mav know what soul coins are?
Just you just know basically that they're called soul coins. You don't know where they come from, how they're made. You know that they're fiendish currency used here. And they're real valuable.
So he wouldn't necessarily have an issue spending them.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not until he really knows what they are.
Not until he really knows what they are, and then he'd have an issue with it.
Yep.
Does the minting of coins on our plane matter? Like, whose face is on the coin? Does that matter? Does anybody care? Or do all the coins basically hold that generalized, like, circle shape with no real boundaries?
No, they're not all circular. It's a weight thing.
A weight thing?
Yeah, in a lot of cases...
It's an amount of silver per coin or whatever.
In a ton of cases, even with like gold coins, what you're actually holding is a wooden cord item that's been dipped.
Oh, so it's just gold plated.
Yeah, because an actual gold coin the size of a quarter would be worth like
a lot of money.
Frick ton of money.
Yeah.
So
unless they were like the size of like as thin as like.
Yep. There's also a lot of coins that like a copper is the standard like coin size, and then they're bored out and filled in the center with a different metal. So to give them value. So like a gold would have a very skinny column in the middle, where like a silver would have a much broader one.
Okay. On that, I think completely irrelevant right now, but I would like us to start minting our own coins as the grind it backs.
I think Othig would be all about that.
So, not that it's overly relevant here, obviously, but now that we've been talking about coins,
Mike, we need to have a conversation back with our table to start the production of coinage.
Unfortunately, your table is not functioning for you right now, so you have no idea what's going on.
Maybe we just ask Akinda to send that message back to our keep for us.
She smirks and says, "It's where it always starts. People want their faces on money." The granite shekel.
Love it.
Did you? I feel like we asked this last week, but I don't remember the exact answer. Is time flowing differently for us here versus on ours? But like, how differently is it?
11.
Mike said that it was moving. Like, time here is such that time is moving slower back home.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're not like
it's kind of like the Feywild.
It's not a 1-to-1. It's actually going to be less time when we get back than what we would have spent here. Okay. That's how we explained it. Like, we're not going to be as gone as long as what we think as what we spend here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Which is exciting.
Well, yeah, and honestly, good because cultists.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, the cultists also are basically coming from here. So if we can interact with stuff here, we might be able to deal with some piece of that from here.
Does Echidna know anything about the cults?
She knows. She knows the players. Yeah. Well, she will tell you guys once introductions are over and agreements to this contractual interaction have been made, that she is not. She's only willing to offer up so much because her offering up information adds a cost to her ledger that she's having to pay. So there's only certain things she's willing to share with you. Like, so this endeavor for her is a great cost to her. So Furthering the
if
cost
she
makes it
shared,
complicated.
Let's say one piece of information A to Tony, and then also a piece of information A to Andy. Is it one cost, or does it cost her twice?
It would cost her twice.
Ooh.
So telling the room stuff is a big deal.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. So, like, she's willing to offer up a lot of basic information that could be gained without a lot of effort, but complicated matters, she will say, that's what I gave you the money for. Go find somebody who's willing to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the case for everybody?
Everything here has a cost to it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think
does
he meant
everybody
information.
have that information ledger, if you will?
Oh, no. Well, everybody has an interaction ledger. If you ask her about that, she'll be like, everybody's watching everybody else. So you want to make sure you stay in balance.
So we could theoretically sell information as well in return for either information or coinage or something.
Yes, you can.
I like the thought of that.
So no information for free.
Nothing's for free.
At least it shouldn't be. I mean, the chicks maybe you can maybe get chicks for free.
Yeah.
Nah.
Nothing, but the chicks are free.
That's a lot. That's a lot to absorb. Good grief. I am super curious about those ledgers. Are those ledgers valuable then? If somebody were to get a hold of somebody else's ledger?
Yes and no, because it's not something that can be held over somebody else.
But it would show treachery and things like that.
It's not like Bitcoins.
No, I'm thinking more like it's a ledger. Like if one of her followers was secretly backstabbing her by talking to another god, she would learn that information by looking at their ledger.
No, she would not. She would learn that there was an informational exchange transaction, and it would have a value assigned to it.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's not okay. I'm trying to judge, I guess, the weight of these ledgers and how much they matter.
It's not a from who to who. It's just it happened.
Yeah,
and it was this much worth of information.
Yeah,
and you want it to remain balanced.
It would be like going to the grocery store and buying a box of cereal, but you have no idea what. Somebody who looked at that would have no idea what cereal it was. On your receipt, it would say cereal, and you'd be like, "Well, okay, there's 80 different brands of cereal." So the ledger is very vague in that regard. There are people that know what all those transactions are, though. But they're special.
They're special.
And she's not going to talk about them.
Yep. Nope, that makes sense. Okay. I'm done asking. I just, like I said, I was trying to figure out the weight and the value of those ledgers. Because if we were able to acquire somebody's ledger and sell it, that'd be a big deal.
If it was a ledger like you were thinking about, yes, it would be a huge deal. But it's not.
Okay.
And they're designed that way. So that
right.
Is there a person who like owns these ledgers?
They're kept, let's see. Yeah, that's a vague enough question. They're kept in a vault in the Tower of Law.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily that one individual owns them. They are owned by the Hells.
Okay.
They exist because of it. And there are keepers that she referenced before, but there's not an individual. Okay. And the keepers answer to no one but themselves.
Nice gig they got.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yep. So this is one of the reasons that there are problems figuring out, even amongst those in the Hells, what's going on and who's leading a rebellion and all that type of stuff, because people don't know. And as much as they want to, unless they ask the right people the right questions, they can't find out.
So is she having to basically give away her. Is she going? Not. I don't know how to phrase this, but is she going in? Is she going in the negative, giving us information on these leads?
Nah, she's just dipping into her 401k.
But I don't mean that she's going in the red. But I mean, is she,
yes.
Is she,
Well, to some degree, yes. She's going to owe. Sir, if this endeavor is successful, she will owe people a lot when she gets out, but she'll be free, which is her main goal.
Right.
The other thing she can pay off given time, getting out though, is something she can only get out if the scepter's returned.
Right. Is she willing to share why she's trapped here, or do we already know that? Did I miss that?
When Asmodeus and the Deceiver overthrew the old fiendish gods, she was she battled Asmodeus in the Sea of Styx.
Oh, and lost.
He defeated her, but she was able to knock the scepter from his hands into the sea, and it was unrecovered.
That makes sense.
So that was his stipulation after her time served, that she can get out now that her time has been served as soon as she returns the scepter.
Okay.
But somebody has to find it for her.
So she has to return the scepter. It's not for her to take. It's for her to find it and give it,
yes.
give it to...
Yep. But it can't be returned by somebody in her stead. She has to be the one to do it.
Interesting.
Yep. You feel like it's super loopholey to keep her stuck.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day...
Is there a reason why Asmodeus won't just go and gain it for himself?
They've sent people looking for it.
No one's been able to find it.
These leads are all from fiend people and other groups that have gone looking for it, and these were some of the most successful and most recent leads. There's millions of other ones, but these are the ones that were most likely to play out.
Bit of a meta question. Do you know which lead is the right lead?
Me?
Already? Or is it kind of a roll of the dice type of situation?
I am going to play that as straight as I can and not give you any leaning on that one way or the other.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this plays into it, but what Mike said before about it was that all these kind of play out in a certain fashion, but some are just more dangerous than others.
Mm-hmm.
That's true about the leads individually, but I think Tony was leaning more towards, like, if we pick the right one first, do we win hell?
Right.
Basically.
That was basically the question, because I'm really down for just kind of rolling the dice and seeing what happens and seeing if we can get some benefits or boons from some sort of entity here by playing with the luck factor.
The answer to that question is yes and no. T.
You mean
I have
factor, not luck factor?
Yeah, Jeffrey's a bit of a gambler, so I would definitely lean into Jeffrey's desire to roll some dice on that and be like, well, if we don't necessarily know where we should go, let's see what the dice tell us to do.
Adam, as a me myself, not Thanik, but Adam is absolutely like any of these. Just go in a direction. We are equally. We have no matter which one, we have the equal amount of chance to go nowhere and die. Mm-hmm. However, so part of me is what I was thinking was let's just pick the ones that seem the most interesting.
Yep. And that's kind of the way this is designed. When I said yes and no, I have an end goal in mind. I know what's happening in the background of all of these, but some of the paths are faster. Some of them are more dangerous. Some of them are going to end up costing you more.
Ooh.
It's just what you pick.
Yeah.
And like I was telling Ryan too, a ton of the hells are in my world. I have a concept for them, but they're completely undeveloped. Yeah. I know a few NPCs that are in there, and I know a few things that go on, but for the most part, I'm just making this up as I go along, because not that much. I'm not completely winging it, but I'm letting you guys craft this. Asking about the Duke, because Ryan brought him up. He is basically a puppeteer of people who have broken their oaths, particularly musicians who've broken up bands and caused great amounts of disarray. He came into existence because the bards. And so they met him and they had a battle with him. And she'd tell you this is in recent news.
Is that where Yoko Ono is?
Yes, Yoko Ono would be property of the Duke. And and so was James Brown, and so they had to band battle off against James Brown, and they beat him, and so he got demoted.
Excellent.
This sounds so ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah, because I definitely don't want to like circumvent any content. I want to see all of this, but I also don't want to like.
So
You mean
let's
like we
find
tried
it.
in the maze.
Let's find it right away, and then we'll hide it, and then go keep looking for it in the other.
Yes.
We'll be like,
I am
nope,
100%
never mind.
in.
Yeah, 'cause that'll
We'll put that in the bag of holding for later.
We'd be in so much trouble.
Or no, here's what we'll do. We'll get to the last room and see that it's there and go, okay, we'll come back later.
Yeah, it's
Let's
like
go do
it's
the
like
other
every
stuff.
RPG that you've played where it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, this is definitely the way. I got to go the other directions first.
Yeah. As soon as I walk into this room,
Let's
it's a
quick
boss room,
save
so I
this
gotta-
here, and we'll come back to that if we need to.
I mean, I think it's fun that you want to see all of the content, but
We're gonna be here for months.
Yeah.
We could be
Yeah,
here
but
for
it'll
months.
only be like a day in the real world. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike's
but we
so-
might be
there's
here
a
permanently
lot
if
of
we're not
content.
careful.
Mike's so used to us trying to get out of his encounters. He's
Yeah.
like, now they all of a sudden want to see everything.
Yeah,
Ah!
it's like we might not be able to leave if we're not
Yeah.
careful.
Dude, I would have been totally fine if we spent the rest of our lives in the Astral Sea.
I got
I would have
it.
been
So
totally fine.
I would have been fine.
For realsies.
I would have been
Yeah.
fine with that too. I'd be fine here also, but I was thinking under the guise or with different characters, not necessarily these characters. But that's a conversation for a different time. We gotta focus.
Matt
We
would
are
prefer
focused.
not to spend the rest of his life in hell.
Jeffrey could take it or leave it.
I wasn't envisioning the granite backs spending the rest of their days in the hells. Yeah.
How are we
What
going
if
to
we
create some?
what if we opened up a guild down here?
So who's the Lord? That's the question. Which one of
Yeah.
us is the Lord?
I don't know. I mean,
It's a terrifying.
yeah. I mean, Mav, he's the oldest now.
The Hell's Guild. Can you imagine the kind of missions that we'd have to endure?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Is he
He's
the
so
oldest?
jacked up.
he is now.
Oh, I guess by proxy. I was like,
It's true.
all right.
Yep. Okay, so do you have any more general questions you'd like to ask Echidna or any of the other groups?
I just have
Um,
one question about like the part that we kind of go from here, because you said there was like maybe 3 groups, but I thought we were going to do 2 groups, like 2 large groups with whoever was.
There was only going to be 3 groups if you set out into the sea. Because
Nobody else wants to
okay,
go.
okay.
the only people
Yeah,
that will go with you are the Dwergar.
Oh, okay.
I
yeah,
like them.
Yeah.
And everybody else will be like, that's fine. We'll go follow some other leads.
They're like,
See
yeah,
you guys
yeah,
never.
that's a good idea. You guys do that, and we'll go over
Yeah.
here.
Yep. If other than that, you guys wanted to take divide the adventuring teams into 2 groups, which that's fine.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't
Okay.
I don't necessarily care.
Or you could send them all down to chase down different leads. You could completely split up and assign different leads out if you want to do that.
if
It's 100% up to you.
the only reason why I would be concerned about that is the sisters, the
Mm-hmm.
drow.
Yeah.
You just said that they were naturally deceptive.
I mean, these are
Jeffrey's
the
naturally
most
deceptive.
stereotypical drow that
yeah,
have ever drowed.
they couldn't. They wouldn't. If they return the scepter, we all still get free, right?
Only the people present at the end. So,
Okay.
I
That's
mean,
why I was
but-
saying we should try to work together as much as possible because
Yep.
it'd be in everyone's benefit.
And everybody here is an experienced adventurer, and they understand that concept. So they might set out to screw you over, but right now they don't have any reason to.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I thought larger groups were better, because it'd be less likely that the majority of people would leave the entire other group out.
Then honestly, what I think we should do is have us and the Duergar in 2 separate groups.
Think so?
Because I wouldn't leave, Thanic wouldn't leave them behind, and I don't think they would leave us behind. You know what I mean?
I do. I don't
Wouldn't
know.
you want them?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want them inserted in a different group then? Not
Yeah,
That's,
necessarily.
that's exactly what
Okay.
he just said.
all right. I sorry.
Just
I heard it as
different
you wanted
words.
them with us.
No, in the other group. That
Okay, yeah.
we would be in 2 separate groups.
Yeah.
I understood. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea, and I think that's a mutual respect thing. Because they appreciate us, we appreciate them. Have we had any reason to not trust them?
To not trust the
I mean,
Duergar?
they came through for you guys in the Underdark when you thought you were going to get in some trouble, and they.
Yeah, the reason why we would have to not trust the Duergar is because they're Duergar.
Yep.
But
and there is that, but you also know
racial
they're
profiling
dwarves.
involved.
There is, but yeah, Duergar they're shifty. They're slavers. They're
yeah. I mean, the stereotype comes from somewhere.
Yep, and it's a pretty solid stereotype.
Gotcha.
Stereotypes are
Noted.
stereotypes for a reason, I always say.
Yep.
But we also know that at the very least, Thanik wouldn't just go out and trust any Duergar now, but these guys he's fought and bled with, so.
Right, and that goes a long way in Dwarven culture beyond just you guys. So
We've shared memories. I'm sure we have.
You would not have shared memories with the Duergar.
We were drinking with them.
We didn't
They
drink
wouldn't have told you. Duergar don't drink. Not often.
Why are we friends with these guys?
They don't want to drink. He told us that they don't want to drink because they don't want to remember how they've been abused.
That's right. That's right.
Because that was the question we had was if we drink with these guys, can we remember their stuff? And Mike was like, "That's why they don't drink."
Yep. You would come. You guys would probably know this too. It's basically only their clergy that drink.
Ooh.
And sometimes their bards and storytellers will too, but for the most part, it's somebody who's got to have a reason. Yep. They just don't do it for fun.
All right. I think those are the only major questions I had. I think I mean I liked the idea of having the Duergar with us, but I also can genuinely appreciate the reason to not.
Yeah, initially I was like, okay, let's make sure that we're all together. But I think it would be a smarter decision. Just because if the Drow are in a different group, do the Duergar and the Drow get along?
No.
I didn't think so. It's not like we get along either, but
no, not under normal circumstances. You do get the feeling like here, if they had to, they'd cooperate, but it would probably be a tense group. So you have two different parties that have Drow in them, actually three.
Other probably put all Drow together.
Would we?
Are there multiple Drows?
We could put some Drow with us.
Blood Legacy has two Drows in them, and Urogar's Fist has one.
Okay. I don't think we want them together. Do they have any history?
Almost none of these people know each other. You probably have heard of the Iron Vanguard and the Silver Blades, but the others you wouldn't. Yeah, you might have heard of Erogar's Fist, but the others you definitely would not have.
That's an interesting dilemma. Okay.
These people are from all over the world. As a matter of fact, on talking to them, you don't even recognize the name of the country that Blood Legacy's from.
Oh. Where were they from?
You could bring up out a map and you wouldn't find them.
Are some of these people from other not multiverses, but other primes like Eberron or something like that?
You don't get that impression.
Okay. Because that'd be a really interesting thing.
Yep.
Wait, are you saying like they can't point like on a map where they are from?
On our map.
On your maps.
Wow.
They're not from any of these places.
So they're not from our world.
No,
they're from your world.
Just far enough away that we don't know where it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one's Magellaned to there yet.
Do they have are they familiar with where we're from?
No.
Is that a
not
mutual
at all.
thing?
It is a mutual thing.
Gotcha.
Gosh, that's cool. All right.
And there's no common places. Wow, that's crazy. Like there's no places that we know of in common.
No, there's not.
Oh man. All right. The world just got a whole lot bigger, guys.
Yeah.
You think it did?
This is like when an expansion to WoW happens and there's a new island out of nowhere.
With a new race that you've never met.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hey, look.
When did pandas just show up?
Right, and it's like 3 miles off the coast.
Yeah, like those
nobody ever saw this place before, but it's there.
No,
positive,
Blood Legacy is from some place called Etsodis.
Oh, that's right. You said that, and I was like, I don't know what that is.
Yep. It's on the map on the new the cool globe one that I put out there.
Where's that?
It's way over in the east.
No, where's the map?
Oh, it's in cartography in the AOG
maps in
channel.
cartography.
Yeah, it's not in ours. It's in the.
Oh, I didn't see that.
AOG maps in cartography.
Yeah.
I always forget that there's so many. We have so many channels.
Yeah.
So that's why next time we do a campaign,
just do it all in one.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I appreciate that thought.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're from far away.
Far away.
All right. So how do you want to divide your groups then? Andy kind of had a little bit of a breakdown on it, but thinking it through about the drow.
Andy got a breakdown?
Typically.
Did I have a breakdown of the groups?
You talked about, you listed more that you wouldn't mind working with than anybody else had.
Pretty much any of the good guys in our circle. Like good-ish guys.
Yeah.
Not bad guys.
Yeah, however, my thought is, originally I was with you, but if we're going to split up ourselves in the Durgar, we might also want to split up...
guys.
Yeah, so it's not all just, here's the good team and here's the bad team also with the Durgar.
Yeah.
Who are actually potentially bad.
Yep.
That might be swayed.
Yep. So you guys all start to discuss this together, and obviously, game-wise, you guys are leading the charge in this, but it's a group decision for everybody else. And for the most part, the two teams of Drow don't really want to work with the Duergar either.
Right.
The one from Irgar's Fist, he's never even been in the Underdark. So he's completely outside of Drow culture. The others are looking at him down on him because he's a dude, and he's like, "What?"
Because they're all females.
Yeah. Well, no, they're Blood Legacy does have a dude in it, but it's the girl's sister, her brother.
Oh, okay.
They're siblings.
You said the one Drow was in Yurgar's Fist?
Yep.
So would the Durgar be fine working with the one Drow who doesn't seem to care?
They would be okay with that as long as they're not surrounded by it. They're even more okay with it because he's a guy.
Okay, sure.
They're not nearly as worried about having their throat slit while they sleep because he's a guy.
Yeah. That's the group with the Minotaur, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I like him. Can I ride him? Will he let me ride him? He probably won't ride him, will he?
He will. No.
I'm not going to ask. He's scary.
He doesn't even let their druid pedal ride him. So let's see. That puts probably you guys then with the two naughty parties.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
the girls in Blood Legacy. And then let's see who's left. You got the Iron Vanguard. They're the ones that they're not necessarily an adventuring party, but they do guard work. But they've done it for tons of different interesting things. So they're adventurers. They just don't go, hey, look, a map or a cave. Let's go in it.
Sure. They're not explorers per se.
They say, oh, look, a map with a cave. Let's sell that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Or they protect somebody who's going to explore a map with a cave.
Oh, all right. That makes sense too.
Yep. That's just not normally their jam. Then the only group that is maybe from outside your universe is the Unbroken, because they got pulled into the universe through a convergence.
Ooh.
Oh, right.
Yep. And then the Silver Blades, who are like basically the goody two shoes of the group.
Yeah, I don't like them. they're the ones that would sacrifice us because we're bad guys compared to them.
No.
Well, everyone would be bad guys compared to them then.
So I assume the sisters are coming with us. I assume is it Blood Legacy?
Mm-hmm.
Who's coming with us? Us, them, and
Right.
Blood Legacy.
Yep, the Sisters in Blood Legacy for sure. Because you don't want to send the Drow with the Dwergar.
Yeah.
So
So
if you want the Dwergar in the other group, then you got to take those two.
yeah, that's fine. Then let's
Can we take the Vanguard?
Yeah, I'm wondering whether or not we want the Silver Blades with us to kind of off to balance out the Drow, or if we want to avoid whatever drama they're going to cause with the Drow.
Come on, there won't be any drama.
Drama.
I think either of those are good choices. The Iron Vanguard is probably the next in line of good guys, quote unquote.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we have the Iron Vanguard with us, and Silver Blades with the Black Hammers?
Yep.
All right. So you guys divide up, and Echidna lets you know that your boats are being prepared. She's preparing 2 boats, and then she teaches you a ritual. It's a chant that you'll want to cast on your boat before you set off, and then you will only want to sail in the tunnel that is created, because it's called a ritual of passage, and these are enchantments that are given to sailors that sail the Sea of Styx, and basically what they do is they open up a tunnel of fog between destinations. And so you sail that.
It's basically encryption.
It pretty much is. It's point-to-point encryption.
Ryan, that's the first thing I thought of when he
Dude, I knew you were thinking it too. That's why I said it. That's awesome.
You will be able to use this chant to get from Avernus to Typhus, and from Typhus to Avernus. You cannot use it at any other location to get to either of those places.
We would need to learn
more chants.
Yep.
the chant to that specific place.
You need to learn other protocols of encryption.
Yeah.
No,
So with
there's different endpoints. We know the encryption protocol. We just need the endpoints.
the Sea of Styx,
Yes.
Is death.
I don't know what it is in this one.
Death.
Greek mythology is that if you touched it, you died.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, but I'm not talking to you.
You don't have to be.
Is it like an actual sea? Is there current? Is there...
There are winds and there are currents, but the wind always seems to blow you in the direction that you're heading.
Oh, like it knows where we want to go?
Well, yes. But the problem is when you go off into the fog, you don't know which way you're going.
So the wind is always behind you.
But it is always behind you. So if you turn your rudder and you start to turn another way, the wind will continue to blow you in a certain direction. The currents are a little bit different, though. If you drop your sails and let the currents take you, they will take you where they want.
Oh.
I'm just thinking if the staff fell in the water, like, would the current take it somewhere, or would it... You know what I mean?
She would tell you the current could have taken it somewhere. Something that lives in the water could have taken it somewhere. It could have gotten caught up in a current of souls and been washed off someplace. She does tell you that it is not death to touch the water. However, the water has strange effects, some which are more problematic than others.
Sure.
Some are more long-lasting than others. It is advised that unless you know what you're doing, you not screw with the water.
Sure. Okay.
She says the river is worse in Avernus. Definitely don't touch the river. It's still not death. That's a myth and a legend, but its effect in the river is far more powerful.
Okay.
Okay. So the sea is more diluted almost.
To some degree. She just smiles and she says, "You'll see."
Okay. Is it like that Star Trek episode where Tasha Yar dies?
Oh,
I barely remember that one.
What?
It's one of the first ones.
Yeah.
What would you say? You do or don't?
I barely remember it. It's like the first one in season 2.
It's something like that, but it's like the river is all sludge and she touches it and dies. She's like, "Yeah, it's not a big deal."
Oh, that big black slimy monster thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, she had to be forced to touch it because nobody liked her.
And then everybody missed her and wanted her back.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So, are we ready?
Yeah. Do we know what we're doing once we?
No, we don't.
No, we're
Yeah.
winging it.
So, well,
We
like,
ever.
do we?
I was just gonna say that.
Should we split up the leads and have like us take these and then the other group take these?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do that.
Okay.
We'll just split the leads in half. So I don't know. I mean, do we want to literally just do?
We'll do the top half, send them on the bottom half.
Yeah.
I like that.
You might not want to do that
Okay.
because the way they're typed up, like the first 8 leads are all one of the domains.
Oh, I see.
The first 8 are domain specific, and then the next ones are all like rumor millish.
Oh yeah.
So
So
that would
let's look
not
at
quite
'em.
work
Okay.
that way.
So you have the ice.
Why don't we just pick? We can do that on Discord later. Why don't we just pick the ones you want them chasing today? Our first leads.
The first leads. Okay.
Mhm.
So.
Otherwise, we're going to spend another half hour dividing up. Leads.
Yeah. So we have the one in Stygia, the gnome, the floating in an iceberg in Stygia, a gnome trapped in Maladomini.
Maladomini.
Dang
it! I just bit my lip real bad.
Oh,
Oh.
in the realm of Dis. Oh, it's a machine of torture in the realm of Dis. The Huntress of Malbogia, who is the daughter of Asmodeus.
Mm-hmm.
This adventure and toss in the Well of Souls. Eternal Fires of Phlegethos. That one sounds interesting.
I like that one. Let's go there.
Yeah.
Ryan also thought that one sounded interesting as well.
Yeah, I thought that one possibly held some merit to it.
Okay. So then, for them, the Duke of Souls and Nessus. Decay and Rot in Minaris.
What?
Let's send them to that one. No, let's send them to the Duke. Let's send
Say
them to the
again?
Duke of Souls.
It's the Decay and Rot of Minaris hides many things that have been long forgotten. Perhaps it's there because somebody assumed it was worthless. And then there's the famed hunter, Henrik
Vandervoot.
Vandervoort. And then
I like how you guys freaked out about that.
Yeah.
It made me happy.
yeah.
Because I've mentioned it a few times in passing and nobody picked up on it.
I totally. This is the first time I was like, oh, hey, I know that guy.
Why do you know that guy?
He was.
Barovia.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, gotcha.
He was like a main side NPC. Of importance, anyways. And there's collected treasure.
I mean, it was familiar, but I just wasn't like.
It was Baron Metis' older brother who Metis blamed Van Richten for getting him killed.
Yeah.
And so when you guys killed Van Richten, Metis never became a villain.
Oh.
And Vandervoort became a monster hunter instead of Van Richten because he wanted to kill the people who killed his friends.
Yeah, in order to kill Kanan. So there's the treasure hunter in Avernus who possibly knows it. Tales of a wandering merchant. When rumor suggests the scepter is guarded by a celestial, which could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Scepter was lost in the Sea of Styx. A group of adventurers claimed, and that's the one with the strange deck of cards. And then it's possible the scepter awaits discovery in a lair of some fiend or a creature who does not realize what it is. That's kind of a vague thing, but I also kind of think that might be something that group would be fine with looking for. Like, just look for a random monster and go kill it.
It's the story of Gollum in the Hells.
Yeah, I like that. Send them after Gollum.
I mean, you could definitely sick them on hunting down random creatures that nobody's bothered to kill.
Yeah, I like that.
Would Echidna be able to tell us if somebody is in possession of the staff but doesn't know what it is? I know sometimes, like, would they gain some influence or power from it, even though they don't know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Most likely, they would find themselves being able to better command groups of people. They'd be really good at trickery and deception, but they just would never chalk it up to the staff because the staff does not ping as magical.
Sure.
So they would just think that they've suddenly gotten better at that thing.
Well, the staff would be more subtle about it. It would develop that over time. They would start to get luckier. Let's say it fell into the hands of an old lady who liked to play slot machines. Like she'd find the staff and she'd be like, "Oh, this thing's cool. I'm going to take it back to my husband," and then immediately win at slots. And she'd go, "Oh, this is my lucky staff." Blah blah blah. And then she wouldn't win again for a while, but then she'd win a few, and she'd be like, "Oh, the luck's paying off," and it would just increase to where she was like, "No, I'm now more lucky."
Would it change the behavior of someone?
It doesn't necessarily directly influence the behavior, but people's behavior changes because they get better at certain things.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So if we sent them after a monster creature, and we gave them those kind of parameters to like look for like maybe rumors of a monster that is.
Yeah, for argument's sake, succeeding where maybe it hasn't before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or as like gain notoriety kind of.
Yep. Yeah.
I like that idea.
That.
Okay. That's a fine idea. Let's see. The Unbroken don't seem to mind that at all. Seems like their main jibe is just wandering through tunnels, killing monsters endlessly. It's kind of like, yeah, we can do that.
They're the grinders.
The others are a little that's a bit vague, but I suppose we all got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And Blood Legacy is a little sad that they're not doing that.
Because they're with us.
Yeah, because they're with you. That's just something that they kind of get a kick out of, is trying to find the next biggest thing to take down. Their culture is very, very survival of the fittest, and the strongest are the ones who are in power.
I'll remind Blood Legacy that whoever actually has the staff is going to be a fight. So, like, if we find them, you're gonna fight somebody anyways.
All right.
Like, all right.
We just speak their language. They're
Like,
Bannock.
like you didn't even have to roll for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Auto success.
Yeah.
Definitely auto success.
It's actually just sitting in an old lady's kitchen. She uses it as a flour sifter.
Get her!
She's gonna beat the crap out of us. With these
No
guys
flight
fighting
at all.
old ladies
Let
are
me have my
insane.
flower sifter back.
You just walk in and you put your hand on her face and shove her onto the ground and take it and leave. That's it. Encounter over.
We solved the puzzle. We solved the old lady puzzle.
And this one didn't even have to be a hag. Not that the last one was.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The last one wasn't a
Crotchety
hag
old
either.
woman is a hag now.
Every crotchety old woman is a hag.
So we're going to
Every woman is a hag.
This is recorded, sir.
Well, he's
Oh, I thought we were
partially
talking about
right
in Mike's
because
world.
the sisters of the Angel Sea presented themselves as beautiful before she turned on you when you let them all out.
That's
True.
true.
The Fey Lady spirit, she did not portray herself as a crotchety old woman.
So we're going to Phlegethos, which would mean we need to find port that will take us there.
Yep.
You can walk there. There are land bridges to all of the domains.
Is there?
Yep. But you'll have to find somebody that'll let you in and out.
Oh, is it like a bard?
It's a transaction.
Okay.
Yep. Every place is gated, and unless you have permission, you cannot go.
Oh, man. Serious lockdown.
Yeah.
They got some
Info,
She
passage.
just says there's a lot about this place that you're going to come to understand. things that you think you know about what happens here, it's just not the way it is.
Would we have problems?
Yes.
Would we have
We're
problems telling inter-party information?
What do you mean?
Because like everything, we have to keep everything balanced. And like, would that show up in the ledger if?
No. She lets you know that there is a certain. Currently, you're all visitors.
Mm.
You do when you engage in a transaction with somebody who is not a visitor. That's when it goes into the ledger.
So if she told one of us something, that would be cheaper for her if she just told one of us and we shared it together.
Yes,
If she should set it to the whole group.
Correct.
Okay.
She says, but that doesn't last long.
Before we're not visitors.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything that we share between each other goes in the ledger.
Starts to accrue.
It won't really matter if we never come back here.
She smiles and nods. She's like, that is the plan.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know why we hadn't thought of asking this yet. What happens if we die here?
You die forever.
You die in real life.
You become property of the Lord whose domain you died in. And you might not be dead forever, but getting them to give you up is real hard.
So resurrection magic's a hard out here.
It's a
Yeah,
hard
did you already
out.
say that?
Yeah, I did. I said that in chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
Is she
So be-
considered the lord of this area?
If you had died in her dungeon, she would own you.
Okay.
All right. I guess let's head out.
Yeah.
Do we know how to get back to her place?
Yes, the ritual will
The
bring
ritual.
you back from Avernus to her place. And she'll let you know as long as it doesn't matter where you set sail from once you're in the sea.
Oh, so we don't need to. So if we like went in a random direction, could we then cast it, or
No.
we'd have to
Once
cast
you
it
leave
before
the
we
path,
actually
you're
set?
off the path.
Okay.
Yep. When you set sail, before you go anywhere, before you lose sight of the land, you need to do that ritual or you're going to get lost in the sea.
So we can't quick travel if we just wandered off somewhere.
Correct.
All right. But once like we can technically dock or set off anywhere as long as we use the passing ritual first.
Correct. Anywhere along the shoreline of Avernus you can leave from.
Okay.
And or Typhus. Either of those places. you'll be fine.
Okay. The boat. Do we need to return the boat? I mean, like if something happens and we don't return the boat.
You don't need to return the boat, but when you bring it back to give her the scepter, she's not going to let you keep it.
Right. No, I just.
But if it gets destroyed, then she's like, well, you'll have to get a new one to come back. So
yeah, I'll
still have a boat.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fine.
All right. So with that said, the Mariliths come down out of the auditorium and they lead you down into the passage where the stairs are behind everybody and take you down a long flight of stairs that at one point in time begins to spiral and go almost straight down. And then it goes into tunnels similar to the kind you came up from. Very curvy, very windy. You cross over bridges where you see other side tunnels. This goes on for about an hour. And you begin to, it begins to smell more damp. And the air becomes very moisture laden. And you begin to hear the creaking of rigging and a strange scuttling sound from up ahead.
Did we, by the way, get a rest in?
I was just going to ask that also.
No, you have not gotten a rest yet.
Okay.
So you follow the Mariliths a little bit further, and it opens up into a stone dock that is inside of a tunnel. And this tunnel goes in two directions as far as the eye can see. And moored there are two large boats, each of them with a skeletal crew that are just moving around the boats. They're setting up sails and doing rigging. And the Mariliths tell you that the skeletons will obey your commands to the best of their ability.
Okay.
All right.
And they turn and leave.
Identical ships.
Okay.
They're pretty similar. The difference is in the masthead. There is a ship with a masthead that looks like Cerberus, and there's one that looks like a Marilith. It's a 6-armed woman with a snake body that wraps down underneath the boat.
Let's take the dog ship.
All right. Cerberus it is. Cerberus. So you guys get on your boats, respectively, and you begin to set sail. I'm assuming you're going to do the chant, unless you want to hijack your team and go out into the sea and not tell them.
We'll be like
we would
la
die.
la la, chant, not the right one.
We'd be in so much trouble.
We're all screwed now. Yay.
So as you begin the chant, the skeletons kind of all look at you and their eyes start to glow green, and green fire kind of starts to pour out of them. And then they go about their jobs on the boat, and they start to pull rigging and adjust sails, and both the ships pull away from the docking where they're moored and head off down this tunnel. About 2 hours later, you come out of the tunnel. And before you, I wouldn't quite say it's light, but it is lit.
It's
dimly.
lit, man.
It's you can see endless walls of fog out in front of you, and there is a storm raging above you, but it's not raining. And as you pull out of the tunnel, the fog begins to billow and swirl around your ships, and it makes, a secondary tunnel, not made of stone, but of fog. And as you pull away from the island, you turn around and look, and being lit by the hundreds of bolts of lightning every minute is this writhing mass of petrified dragon heads that stretches miles in either direction and begins to wrap around. You are coming out, you are actually sailing out of one of the many mouths that are at water level.
Wow.
That's cool.
And so,
So we've been traveling for like 3 hours now, and we just got out of his mouth?
Yeah,
Wow.
out of one of his mouths. And so then you head out into the sea.
Can we take a rest on the boat?
You do get a rest in on the boat, because it is going to take 3 days to get from the Isle of Typhus to Avernus.
Wow, okay.
Along the way, you continually hear the exact same bell that goes off every time Mav kills something with Toll the Dead. It's coming from out in the fog. At different times, it sounds closer than other times. Every once in a while, it sounds right on top of you guys. At one point in time, I will allow you to make a perception check as it's right on top of you. Nope.
Typical.
7 for Mav. Oh, thing coming in strong.
It's gonna be a good night, boys.
With a 1. Thanak with a nat 1.
Boom, baby.
Dude!
Jeffrey is riding on the head of Cerberus for the beginning of it, and then once we get outside, he totally just climbs up into the crow's nest and is like, I am watching everything from up here.
Okay. So, Jeff, as you're watching, you hear this bell go off, and guys, it sounds like it is 3 to 4 feet away, just on the other side of the fog. And you're all on the deck, so you don't see it. But Jeff does, because he's up in the crow's nest. Jeff, you look over, and out of the fog rises this huge serpentine-like head that has a net hanging out of its mouth, and the net is full of, I wouldn't say translucent bodies, but they look like opaque white jello, but they're humanoid in shape. And it kind of makes eye contact with you, and you hear the bell again, and it pulls its head away, and it turns away from the fog into the deeper fog.
Oh.
Is it just like fishing for souls?
You have no idea.
Not a clue.
That's weird.
Pretty jacked up.
Anybody able to speak to skeletons?
Yeah, actually. But I don't want to. Is there a captain of this ship? Or are we technically the captains at the moment?
You're the commanders of the ship. There is a skeleton that does seem, and none of them are wearing any gear or any identifying
Except for an eye patch, what the captain has.
mark. But yes, the captain has an eye patch. No, he does not. There is one that stands at the helm the entire time, though. So he is the one that drives the ship. You do get the odd impression that they are communicating with each other, but not in a way that's normal. It's more like a skeletal hive mind that just manages what needs to happen on the ship.
Can we communicate with them at all?
Other than giving simple instructions, not really. They don't talk.
Okay. That's what they don't communicate back to us.
No, not at all. So day 2, as you guys are sailing, you're cruising along, and you begin to hear things bumping into the boat.
Are we able to? Or are the drow talkative at all?
Enough.
About
They're not rude. So, I mean, they'll
ask them
talk
questions
about whatever.
I mean,
We
are
wanna
they
ask them
open
questions
up
about
about
the
kind of
city.
their strengths at all?
They are. Let's see. What are they? Let me pop Discord back open because that's where they're all listed. They'll let you know that there's a wizard in the group, a trickster cleric, and a spellblade. So there's one who's heavy in melee but still casts spells, a cleric of a trickster goddess, and a wizard who she seems to be the one in charge. But their strengths, they'll tell you, all lie in beguiling their enemies to the point where hopefully they never even know they're there until they're dead.
That's legit.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Does the cleric have issues calling on divine power here?
She does not, and neither does Mav.
Okay.
I'm able to?
Yes. There's this strange feeling you get when you cast a spell or you engage in a prayer where you get the feeling like somebody is smirking and saying, "I'll allow that."
Oh.
Are they writing it
But
down in the ledger as they allow it?
It is functioning.
Until it's not. That's how that works.
It is until it isn't.
Right.
So, but they would tell you that basically they're all a bunch of rich brats whose parents send them off to be part of an adventuring group to kind of get it out of their spirit before they come back and run their houses.
So
But this
like
particular
Amish?
kinda, it's like their offspringer. But this latest group in the Sisters of Shadow have been around for a very long time, but this latest group is actually really good at it. And now they've been hired by different houses to perform various tasks, most of which tend to be killing other houses or causing rebellions in the Underdark, or they tell you they just wiped out a bunch of Yuan Ti not too terribly long ago that had struck a deal with a certain house and then betrayed them.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
We probably know about that, don't we?
They seem rather interested in the way you behave when they tell you that story.
We were in the Underdark, right?
You weren't.
Yeah,
I thought
you
we
were.
were. Oh,
You-
not we. Sorry,
You
not
were.
we. Yeah,
We were.
we as in the granite backs.
Yes, the Granite Backs were definitely in the Underdark. So,
Jeffrey doesn't know about any of that.
I mean, if you have anything more specific in mind, they'd be amenable to letting you know things.
Do you guys want to ask them about the city that we've been learning about from the caves underneath the keep? See if they know anything about that.
Which city?
And Janice?
Janice?
Yeah, Ingenus. Janice, whatever it's called. Yeah.
You may certainly ask them if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of. Have we learned anything about the way that it's pronounced in a different language, or if there's a different like usefulness to?
Before she left to deal with other matters, which included, you would have talked to her as Magda Stonesight.
Mhm.
Now that she's back, she would have let you know that she honestly was just here not too terribly long ago. She was part of the operation that rescued an enormous amount of people from here. If you remember the story she told you, right?
Yep.
But she would have told you that she thinks by the way other words are translated and pronounced, it is in Janice.
Okay. So yeah, I'll see if there's any familiarity for them to that space, especially because they seem to have a cleric with them that
Sure.
might have a little more knowledge.
Make a D20 roll. Make a luck roll.
Just a luck roll.
Yep.
Oof, that's a 7.
They look at each other, and not like shifty, but like they're looking at each other to see if any of them have ever heard of this place, and they just look back at you and shrug. They're like, never heard of it. Sorry.
Okay. And they seem forthright with that statement.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to roll an insight check, you can.
Sure, I would like to.
Always.
I mean, we gotta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. The cleric looks like she's hiding something. But then again, she's a trickster cleric.
Oh,
So she might always be hiding something.
I'll do the Frodo Baggins. All right, then keep your secrets. I'll give her that look.
The other two actually smile, and she just kind of just looks at you. And the other two look at her, and they're like, "Oh, do you know something?" and then they start bantering in Undercommon.
I understand all of their comments.
You speak Undercommon?
Oh yeah.
When did that happen?
Here's what we need to make sure that happens is that we are psychically linked, but nobody else is.
There you go. There you
Mav is going to listen to their conversations, but not let on that he actually understands every word they're saying.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
You're good.
And then translate for us.
In my mind, I'm translating like everything they say.
Yeah.
Okay, so the two are definitely on her case. Everybody is on Mirami's case about tell us what you know. And she finally says, well, I don't really know anything, but my master who trained me, it was her obsession to find this city. Apparently, it's the oldest. It's a city that survived almost back before the Shadow Years. And they're like, oh, they're all like, we should go looking for it when we're done with this. And they just get all dumb girl about it, but they're not letting you know that. But she is definitely heard of it. You get the impression from what Mav is translating in your mind that she doesn't know much more than having heard about it, but she knows somebody who does.
Yeah. Okay. I would also, from the iconography she has, are we able to pick up on who she serves?
Something spidery.
Okay. We wouldn't recognize the god from our other experiences in the Underdark.
It kind of just all goes back to they serve Lolth.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if
some sort of spider queen, monster, woman, demon thing. You don't know.
Yeah, I assumed it was Lolth, but I didn't want to put aside that she was maybe one of the weirdos that actually served somebody else.
Yep. No. And you would know from Sellet, because you guys have spent a decent amount of time with him. There is a very varied pantheon that the Drow follow, but it all ends up coming back to her.
Gotcha. Okay.
The Drow pantheon is known as the Table of Eight, and it's 8 different figurehead women who oversee different domains of divinity, who all serve as what are known as the handmaidens of Lolth. So it's almost guaranteed that each of these 3 probably serve a different handmaiden, and by doing that, serve Lolth.
Gotcha. That's cool. I like that.
Remind me, do we know where the city is beneath the keep, or just that exists?
You just believe it exists.
Yeah, we haven't found it yet.
Yep. You found plenty of clues that continually reinforce that, but you have not found it yet. All right, so things are bumping into your boat.
Oh no.
Yeah, day 2. You're all on the boat, and you're having this conversation with the sisters, and you hear thump, and everybody just kind of looks around. Skeletons aren't phased at all.
Of course they're not.
You hear another one. Boom.
Bunch of monkeys.
Mav's going to look at the side of the boat.
Yeah, I assume, Mav, you're seeing all kinds of you're like some Jackson Pollock movie right now.
Just everything is magic.
Yeah.
It's all low-key magical just because of the nature of its existence, but it's definitely not anything that he hasn't gotten used to.
I'm not like, yo, look at that.
Yeah.
Just tripping on acid over here.
Yeah, no, it's not quite like that. So you guys look over the side of the boat, make perception checks for me.
Now you're talking. Round 2.
Oh, 13's better. 12, not so bad, I would think.
I had an 18.
All right, Mav's got an 18.
I'm up in the crow's nest, so I'm going to guess I can't.
You can make it a disadvantage.
All right, I'll do that.
Actually, you wouldn't be because you were talking to the girls when this started.
I would have happily yelled at them from the crow's nest, but
they would not have conversed with you.
No, that's right. That's right. Hey, you ladies, talk to the gnome in the tree. So just, I don't know, 14.
Okay.
Not too
So Mav sees it first. You hear a thump, and you look over on the side, and there, the water has gone from gray to a milky white. And Mav, you see one of those bodies that Jeffrey described the thing picking up before come floating past. And then you hear another thump, and you watch as the ship hits one. And it just kind of spit off to the side, and then you start hearing thump, 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 and your boat is careening through a school of corpses. At least you thought they were corpses until one of them rolled over and its eyes opened up and looked at you.
Screw that.
Dude.
Hey, Jeff, cast Speak with Dead.
You grab
You
one
don't
of the
have
bodies.
to.
I ain't gonna do it from up here.
He's already alive. You don't need to speak of the dead.
Do we have a paladin with us at all? I don't remember.
I do not
Probably
believe
not.
so. I think the only paladin is in the Silver Blades.
Okay. Do you guys want to fish for one of the undead and see if we can figure out where it came from?
Bobbing for undead. Jeez.
Let's see. You have another dwarven war cleric, Yar of Blackstone Peak,
Yar.
and then you have
So there's a thick mat of undead that we're boating through at the moment.
yes. Oh, you don't know if they're undead or not.
But at least one was.
Well, they look like they're dead, but you don't know what those things are. They look like Jello people.
Ew.
We have the Unbroken with us, right?
No, the Unbroken are on the other boat. You have the Iron Vanguard, the Sisters, and Blood Legacy.
Are the Drow familiar with at all?
They've never seen anything like that, and they think it's kind of gross.
Yeah, they would.
Do you want to try to reel one up?
I mean, why?
I can't think of a good reason either, if I'm
Okay.
honest.
Then let's just continue on.
Yeah.
Okay. So this goes on
I
for
mean, what
about...
are we gonna find out? Hey, it sucks out here. Yeah, okay.
This goes on for about 4 to 5 hours.
Oh.
And at different times it's thicker than other times. There's just, for lack of a better way to describe it, there are schools of pulpy bodies floating through the sea. You hear the bell. You always hear the bell out here. Every few minutes, it just rings somewhere out there.
Oh, you said that was so great. You hear the bell. You always hear the bell.
Yeah.
It's like it's so taxing on our psyche to
Yeah.
always hear the bell.
Well, I mean,
Can I
it
just-
probably would be.
I know, that's why I think it's funny.
I might cast Troll the Dead on one of our. The necrotic damage doesn't affect skeletons, right?
It does. They're
No, it does.
I shouldn't say some of them. Some undead are resistant to.
Now, you got a pretty good feeling like you might kill one of these things if you cast your Toll the Dead on it, because it's 3d12.
That's unfortunate. No, it's 3d8. They're not injured.
He's not hurt. Yeah, that's true. They're not injured yet.
I mean,
That's
look
still
at them.
probably
How are
really
they
true.
not injured? They're at
They're
full
undead.
health. They are healthy beings.
For their kind, they are. Okay, so you guys sail on. Day 3 hits, and everybody's starting to get a little antsy because you don't have any idea how long you're going to be on this boat.
Yeah.
And everybody's starting to get a little antsy, a little angry. There's some started out friendly sparring that starts between a couple of the group group members. Doesn't end that way. It ends with people being angry.
Do we see the other ship?
Yeah, it's right behind you.
Okay.
Yep. So you guys are sailing, within 100 yards of each other, and the tunnel of fog seems to be fine that you can see that far through it. I wouldn't even say they're 100 yards behind you. They're probably closer than that. I would say within yelling distance for sure.
Okay.
And so you begin on day 3. Make your perception checks. 14, 15, 18. Oh, 30. And ooh,
Dang,
Jeff,
with those 20.
second nat 20 of the night.
Jeffrey's on point.
At 5 again.
He just really likes he's probably got that astral spyglass you guys were talking about, and he's just like using it everywhere up here.
Oh, actually, I would totally like to do that. I would like to use at some point my eyeglass, the seeing eye, whatever the thing is called, the eye gem.
Yeah, that allows true seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gem of Seeing.
The Gem of Seeing. It casts True Seeing, and
I think it's 120 feet.
Yeah, definitely. So Jeff, we'll handle you first. You're looking through your spyglass, and you come around and you see a winged creature flying straight at the boat from out of the fog.
Oh no!
It's not real big.
Does it?
Yeah,
am I
it's
able to
not
see if
big
it has
yet.
any intent?
Would you? Yeah, natural 20 with +5, so 32. It is impossible to tell if it has any intent because it is a fleshy ball with white bat wings on it.
A fleshy ball with white bat wings.
It looks like it's made of skin that is dripping.
Ew.
Oh.
And it has bat wings, and you see it coming, and then you see all of the others coming behind them.
Yep, I'm gonna let everyone know to man their stations with my brain for our guys, and then since it looks like there's a flock of these things,
Yes.
I'm going to suggest to any of these guys that if they've got something that can create wind, that they should probably do it. And then I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay.
How far away can I cast this? Does it look like they have eyes?
They are a fleshy, melting ball of skin with bat
All right,
wings.
I'm going to cast Hypnotic Pattern 120 feet away from the boat in their direction as they're coming towards us.
Okay.
I'll get ready
See
to
if I
attack.
can at least hinder their forward progress while everyone gets prepared.
Okay. There is no response to your hypnotic pattern at all. Are you staying in the crow's nest?
Yeah, that's the important part.
No, I am going to jump down and cast Featherfall as I get to the bottom and run to find some cover.
So a couple of the other casters, they create some wind spells, wind wall, and other stuff like that, and it does deter these creatures as they start getting closer to the boat. You hear crying, and the closest you can relate this crying to is the kind that happens at a funeral.
Oh, wailing.
It's not like if somebody just found out somebody died. It's more subdued than that, but it's consistent and it's loud, and they're all doing it. Every time they beat their wings, they cry some more, and as they start to flock around the boat, drops of water start to hit the deck.
Is it coming from them?
What starts hitting the deck?
Drops of water, it looks like, start hitting the deck.
What's the crew doing?
The skeletons are just sailing.
Yeah. Okay. I figured that might be the case.
Yep. The other adventurers, they're putting shields over their heads to block the water. The folks with wind wall up, there's people sheltering behind that. But wherever there isn't cover, it is like these creatures are causing it to rain. It's picking up in intensity too, and so is the crying.
How big is the boat?
It's a good size. It's a small galleon.
So more than 20 feet around?
Yes, it is. It's a
wide.
It's a two-mast tall ship.
Yeah,
How many of them are there? You said a swarm, but
now that this has started to go on, there's thousands of them.
And how big are they?
Softball size.
Okay.
Can I cast Sickening Radiance in an area that they're flying through?
Yeah, sure. Mav, you doing anything? Because you started to ask about size of the boat.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, because that's what I thought was happening. So Sickening Radiance can go out past the Spirit Guardians. Mm-hmm. So what does Sickening Radiance do? I'm very familiar with Spirit Guardians, so I don't need to ask.
It's 120-foot range, but a 30-foot radius sphere.
Okay.
Centered on a point. Does 4d10 radiant damage on a con save.
Okay.
and it suffers 1 level of exhaustion.
Do they take any if they save?
I think they take half. Hold on, let me look. Oh no, they don't take any.
Mav, with your spirit guardians out, would you like to be something that can fly, so you can go out and deal with those things?
Sure.
I can polymorph you into like a bird of some kind, or some
big
sort
bird?
of large.
You know, something bird of prey style.
I was thinking that it might actually be better if you were small, though. But I can make you into like a
dragon,
giant hawk, or a giant.
Mav definitely wants to be a dragon.
I can't make you a dragon. I can certainly try and make you something dragon-like. I don't know how that will go. If you remember the last time your brother
Mav
tried
doesn't
to
care. Mav
polymorph
wants to be a
anybody.
dragon.
All right, I'm gonna try and turn him into a dragon. I'm gonna try.
Make a D20 roll.
That's a 1. I can't roll once, but I don't know if that matters for this.
It does not for these. This is just how it goes. It is just a measure of success or fail. So, Mav, you cast Spirit Guardians, and the Spirit Guardian sphere is deterring not only the creatures but the rain as well. And so the sickening radiance goes off right outside of that where the flock is coming in as well. And these things just start popping inside of it, and then they're starting to avoid those areas and flying around. And then Jeffrey casts Polymorph on you so that you can take off and do this. And you look down and you see clawed, scaled hands, and you move your neck around, and it's all snake-like, and you go to roar, and everybody else hears, "Ah!" And you look over at Mav, and there's this little tiny fairy dragon. It is the most unthreatening thing imagined.
Can
he fly, though?
Does he get wings?
He still can fly, though.
With his nice fancy butterfly wings.
Yep. So Mav goes to take off and fly, and Mav, as you're trying to fly in a certain direction, you just find yourself accidentally taking jaunts to the left and to the right, and for no good reason flying way the heck over here, just like a butterfly would. You are just all over the place, and this is no longer any fun at all. However, Spirit Guardians is doing its job as it flies around. You see other similar magic going off on the other boat.
You're a dragon with flight that has no control over its flight. Do you still want to be a dragon, or do you want to be?
Oh my gosh!
Andy, do you want me to drop that, or you want to keep it?
No, just keep it.
All right, I'm gonna concentrate on that, and I'm gonna find cover, find shelter, so I'm safe.
Are you able to concentrate on it? That might.
Yeah, I can concentrate on it for a while.
Just to stop from laughing.
So this goes on for quite a long time. These things fly around the ship for a good 5 minutes.
The sickening radiance stays for 10 minutes.
Okay.
But it stays within a sphere, and we're moving, aren't we?
Yes, so you could position it out in front of the boat so the boat would move under it, but it would be over and it would provide cover for you and the boat behind.
Yeah.
And so you do that, and you do some things, and so the preparations you made do a good job of protecting most everybody, but a couple of the guys on your boat and the other boat get hit by some of these water drops, and they begin to wail and cry much in a similar fashion as the creatures do as well. And you hear them mumbling things, and it sounds like things people would say at a funeral. It'd be like, "Oh, he died too young. We shouldn't have taken him into that cave. It's all our fault that she's gone." And it's you can tell they are reliving memories of when they were deeply moved by the loss of someone. And when that happens, these things begin to swarm down towards that individual.
Oh, no.
What would you guys like to do when that happens?
Can I attempt to butterfly my way to those individuals?
Make a D20 roll.
How many clerics do we have?
You have 3 in your group, actually.
I will yell out to them to get can't move. I don't know if lesser restoration would help at all, but
It's worth a shot.
yeah.
Jeffrey could cast that too, and he's currently not got anything else to cast.
Okay.
I will cast Lesser Restoration. Lester's Restoration.
Woo! Let me get the sorrow away from you. And he grabs one of the adventurers from the Iron Vanguard, tips his head back, and all of a sudden a big ceramic moonshine jug shows up and starts dumping it into his throat. And then he gets a little better. It does seem to help.
Okay.
Lesser restoration. And as they stop crying, the creatures go back to flying around. The others are taken below deck as things are being dealt with.
Do the skeletons seem to be affected by this at all?
No, not at all. That you can see them getting hit by the teardrops, and it doesn't bother them at all.
All right.
They just continue to sail on. So you guys handled the problem pretty decently. And after I said about 5 minutes later, time passes. You see at one point in time, after you figure out what's going on and you figure out that the drops, when they hit you, cause you to relive sorrowful memories, and you see Var, the leader of Blood Legacy, just standing out in the rain, getting hit by it.
Like unfazed?
Unfazed. The man has no regrets about all of the things that have died and caused him sorrow.
That dude is hardcore.
For real.
Yeah, and then you watch as the other two drow. They're standing inside of the butterfly spirit guardians, and the guy hands over 10 gold to his sister.
That's great. I love it.
Oh, because he stole some money from her.
No, you feel like they might have just bet on whether or not Var would start crying.
Yep. that.
Yep. I appreciate that.
Oh, yep. So, after that passes, you have the rest of the day is uneventful, and the next morning, one of the skeletons walks up to a bell on the mainmast and rings it, and as he does, it's not quite sunlight, but daylight breaks through, and you look around, and there is no sun in the sky here, but the fog is starting to wear off, and you can see an island in the distance. It is green and covered in trees, and you can see a large mountain and two tall gleaming towers along either side of it, spiraling up on the horizon. Did I give you guys a map of this place yet?
No.
I haven't seen one pop up.
Of the Hells? Okay.
I think you gave us one in our chat.
Yeah, in Discord.
For like the overall wheel.
The artist rendition of it. So you begin to see Avernus coming into sight, and it's forested, and you can see a tall mountain and two towers alongside of it. And in about an hour, you'll be able to make landfall. Do you guys want to do anything else on the boat?
I don't think so.
Okay. So you guys make landfall. The skeletons, there is no dock, so they just pull up as close to shore as they can get, and they ready the John boats to be rowed up to shore. You do get the impression that they will be right here when you come back. Let me share a map for you, so you know where you're at.
They're not in a hurry to get anywhere, huh?
Doesn't seem to be.
The Mariliths didn't come with, right?
They did not.
Oh yeah, I saw this. You did show this. I don't know where you showed it though.
Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, it must have been in Discord. So, and like I said, I do believe I said in Discord, this is an artist's renditioning of it.
Sure.
It functions similarly to the way it's laid out, but it doesn't actually look like this. You can't see the land bridges and the other land masses from where you were at.
Okay.
It's there. And you believe you have put down there. So you make sure And the first thing you notice is it's warm. The weather is very pleasant. It smells good. It smells like a forest in late spring, early summer. You hear birds chirping and singing in the trees.
I'm gonna use the gem of seeing.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't
seriously.
believe any of this.
Yeah. When you would have used that on the boat, Thanak, you would have seen those pulpy flesh bodies that float by every once in a while and bump the boat. Once you knew what you were looking for, you saw them a lot.
Okay.
It was just the time you drove into the school that you were hitting them. You could actually make out people's facial features. You could see who they were and what type of being that was floating through there. And they were most certainly at that point in time interactive. They all looked sad and in pain as they floated by. So I don't know if that changes what you guys may have wanted to do with one of them before we make landfall.
I don't think so.
Not after the crying softball skins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A flock of mourners.
Yeah. What about when we get to Avernus and it's all green and lush? I'll use it there as well.
This is it. There's nothing illusionarily magical about this at all.
Oh. That's sketchy.
Yep, the beaches are nice. The grass is thick and soft. It is, for all intents and purposes, absolutely gorgeous here.
I'm also gonna take a quick glance over the party, over all of them.
Yep.
And
they all look just as confused as you are.
Okay, but everybody is who they are appearing to be.
Yes.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Except for that one time that Jeff wasn't Jeff.
Yeah, I got a question. Would the gem of seeing seen through that guise?
You do not believe so, not from the way Aloysius described to you.
It's kind of what I thought, but yeah.
Yeah, because the transformation, it's magical in what causes it, but it is physical once it's done.
Okay.
So the ritual to change is magical, but the transformation is physical.
Okay.
Yeah, we would say it's changed down to the genetic level.
All right.
Which is why it's so dang hard to figure out who's who.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So everybody does seem to be legit. Everybody seems very surprised that it's nice here.
When the true seeing gem is on, do we notice anything weird or different about our companions?
About your what?
Companions that we were with?
Oh, that's who he was saying he looked at the other parties. Nope. They're all Yep.
I misheard that. Sorry.
Yep, the parties look normal.
That's all from 2, right? Because the other boat would have docked by now?
Yeah. There's a few things that you notice, like the Drow Wizard uses illusionary magic to enhance her makeup. Things like that, but like nothing out of the ordinary. You know, you're not.
She
There's
enhances
no
her figure a little bit.
There's no Rakshasas hanging out in your party,
Yeah.
being pretending to be somebody else. There's nothing
I feel like I'm putting on the glasses and they live. Or is that what it is?
Yeah, with Rowdy Piper.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope, everything's fine. Oh no.
Nope, everything seems 100% normal.
Okay.
Except for the fact that
Everything's nice here.
everything's normal.
Yeah.
You feel like things shouldn't be normal here.
Is Lady Kane in charge now?
You have no idea.
She totally took over Avernus and made it nice. She opened up the garden down here. Well, by Saint Kane's beard, indeed.
By Saint Kane's beard.
Man, we haven't brought that one out in a while.
What do you guys want to do?
Well, I think our group needs to figure out passage to Phlegethos.
Yep. And the other group is just gonna Probably head for a city and see what they can rustle up as far as contracts for hunting monsters or clues on that.
I didn't ask before, but did we find out, is there like one settlement here or multiple settlements, or how does that work for Avernus?
There are multiple settlements here. That's pretty common knowledge. It wouldn't be anything that would cost Echidna a lot. She would tell you there are 2 small villages on opposite sides of the island. They are known as Loneheart and Stillwater. And then there are 2 bigger cities on either side of the mountain. There is Bitterhold and Nightborough.
And their position is pretty relative to how they're placed on the map.
For the most part, yeah. You believe so.
So we could probably either go to the north one or the west immediately.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
I feel like the bigger one makes more sense. Oh, which one are we trying to get to?
You don't know. Oh, you're trying to get to Phlegos.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, maybe go north?
Like that.
Because it's on the way?
I guess, I mean, I kind of assume that the bigger town.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
capital,
it would make more sense because there might be more opportunity to get whatever it is that we find.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be the ones who are actually going to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
so
let's just go to the bigger town then, that's closest to us.
What's up, baby? So my wife just came home. I'm not just yelling baby to any random person or Weston, you know. So just it's cool. So you guys start heading through the woods, and you hear a horn off in the distance, and everybody starts to look around and get a little like. Everybody seems a little keyed up after a 3-day boat ride through some really weird crap.
Is it a war horn?
It sounds more like a hunting horn.
Hey, Othig, use your gong and maybe we can communicate.
Do you really want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good gong. That's a solid gong. So you ring your gong back, and everybody else who's like unfastening their weapons and getting their spell books out kind of just looks over at you like, "Did you just really ring a gong?"
Yeah. Well, they also
and they just see the effect it has on the granite backs.
Yeah, they also get granted a boon because I did that, so they're welcome.
So they're all looking around, and then you guys begin to hear yipping and snarling.
Oh,
it's a sound that's pretty familiar to you all. Sounds like hyenas.
I was gonna say well, not we. These guys have fought gnolls.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will take a offensive posture.
Okay, so you guys start
before he does that, I'm going to touch your sword.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good call.
Okay.
So we've got some stuff to remove from people. Like, probably don't have death word.
Yeah, I'm gonna start mumbling under my breath a counter charm, and saying it aloud in my brain so these guys could have the effect.
Oh no!
Can you give us a long rest real quick?
I'm not sure if he heard you.
I probably did not. Sorry.
Can you give us a long rest real quick?
Yeah, I can do that too. Just turn my camera back on here.
Is there anything like on a building nearby, or like a gargoyle or something that I can animate nearby?
You are near no civilization at the moment. You are in the forest right now. Very nice forest, but you're in the forest all the same. So you guys, everybody starts to take up battle stances. All 8 adventuring parties. Magic begins crackling as cantrips are kind of like warming the fingers up and all that good stuff. And I want you guys to make perception checks.
All right, guys. This is the one that's going to do it.
Fourth time's a
What's
charm.
good? 19. 9. 19 and a 9. 13 and 11 and 15. So Mav's the only one who notices it, but it does look like for a bit you're being surrounded. And you hear growling in the bushes, and you can definitely see four-legged shapes and humanoid shapes just out of...
Do we still have the coast behind us?
No, you can't see the coast anymore.
Oh,
You're fully in the forest now.
Okay, we moved away.
Yep, you have moved away. But I put the marker there so you'd know where your boat is.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
You've fully moved away towards what you believe is Bitterhold. Just out of a good line of sight for you to be able to make out what they are, you see creatures moving about.
Mav just yells to come at us, bro.
Right.
And he points to Othig.
Yeah.
Like, come at us.
Yeah.
Then Var looks at you guys like, yeah, let's get it done. Let's do it. And
I just think it's great that they're gonna try to take on 8 adventuring groups.
There's probably a lot of them.
There would have to be.
Yeah.
And so then after a little bit, you guys all take a stance. You acknowledge that they're out there and everybody, is with you guys. And the howling stops, and it does seem like the creatures have retreated.
Which direction? The way they came, or a different direction?
At one point in time, you felt like you were all surrounded, and so they have gone away in all directions.
So
you can make a perception check to see if you can determine if they gathered back up.
I'll point at the drow who are all like
Gosh, you guys.
I know, terrible. The drow who are like, what is he doing? Why is he ringing the gong? And I'll look at him and be like, that's why.
The girls are like, well, we prefer silence, but
it was just one time.
We're not in a fight, so
it was just one time.
Win-win.
Yeah.
Whatever was really out there has decided not to mess with the 37 of you.
Yeah.
And so you continue to walk on, and a couple hours later you come out of the woods, and it's weird. There are squirrels here hiding nuts in the ground and rabbits. You see deer. It is, for all intents and purpose, a perfectly normal... Actually, scratch that. It is an abnormally perfect forest.
Of course it is.
And you come out, and you can see the town. You're kind of in the foothills of the mountain there now, and you can see the town nestled alongside of it. It's not a really wide town. It's kind of skinny, but it's built up onto the side of the mountain. It's only a couple of streets at ground level, and then it's leveled up the side of the mountain, and it wraps around the whole mountain, and you can see the other town kind of meets it halfway through. And you can see a definite change in the architecture and colorization of the two towns. One, the town on the other side, Nightborough, has a darker architecture to it, more Gothic in style, where Bitterhold is more Germanic, A-frame houses and that type of stuff going on. But rather than the two being separated, it does look like it wraps around the entire lower half of the mountain. You do see a large cave about a half mile up the mountain with water just pouring out of it.
Is when she said the river Styx, am I assuming that's what that is?
It's a good bet because it does pool up and form a river and cut its way south. You wouldn't be able to see it on the north, but you're guessing it's the exact same thing on the other side.
Okay.
Because this mountain looks very mirrored. It's in and of itself, the mountain's not symmetrical, but there's a tower on either side of it. The city wraps around to both sides of the tower.
Sure, okay.
It's got a pretty symmetrical feel to what's going on here.
Is that adding to the does that look like that is like where the city placement and everything is? Does that look like it's on purpose to be symmetrical, or is it just adding to the everything is perfect here?
A little of both. Like the town looks like it's laid out like as intelligently as it possibly can be.
Okay.
Like it's like, wow, that's really cleverly engineered for the way the space that they have available for them, and the way it just arcs itself over and around the river. It's bizarre.
Okay. Does it look like granite back work?
It looks, yeah, it's granite back work easily. You're like, this is good work.
It's good work.
So you headed into the city then?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you guys head into the city, and the first thing you notice is the absolute lack of people here. You see a few people moving about, not many at all, though.
What kind of people?
They look. Make a perception check as you walk into town.
Jeez.
There we go. They're people.
Very homogeneous versions of the humanoids that you would commonly see.
Okay.
And when I say that, it's not that they look bad average. They're all attractive as far as, the standards of stereotypical attractiveness go for various races.
Yeah.
But nobody's really distinguished in any certain way. You don't see like a tiefling with a broken horn.
Mm.
It's very cookie cutter.
Okay.
But they're good cookies.
Yes. Yeah. Is there any shops, any businesses, or is it all?
Yeah, as you move more into the main street, now the people are paying attention to you coming in, and there's talking going on. They start to, they behave like normal people do. There is a look of surprise on their faces, and you would hear them whispering and be like, some of the first visitors we've had since the Exodus. How very interesting. What if they stay? Can they stay? And there's just these, you hear these whispered, rumory style conversations as people are looking at you like you're a very unique commodity. You take a look around for some shops and things like that. You see there are signs for stereotypical shops. You see signs for a smith. You see signs for an oddities dealer, general goods, all sorts of things like that. But the stores, for the most part, look like they haven't been looted, but they've been cleaned out. The glass isn't broken. Signs aren't hanging, smashed, but
just there's stuff in them.
There's very little of value on the shelves. And when I say of value, I mean you might be able to find some stuff that nobody really cares about, like a pack of pencils. There's like, if you went to a dime store for stuff right now, there's a pack of pencils. That's somebody's like, oh, they didn't grab
There's no
that.
toilet paper, is what you're saying.
There's no toilet paper
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
in this place.
It's not even in the bathrooms.
Yep.
Too soon.
There's just some corn cobs.
Make perception checks.
Hey,
Those are good. Those are
It's
good. There's a
respectable.
25. There's a 14. That's a 10. That's not something. That's an 11. So, Jeff, you hear music coming from down the street.
Ooh,
Sounds like jazz.
like some smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Jeffrey is excited. I haven't heard jazz since. Have I ever heard jazz?
Maybe.
I'm just excited to hear music. I'm gonna listen to see if I can pick out an artist, and then I guess I'm gonna lead the group towards that because Jeffrey's excited to hear music.
Yeah.
Discovery. It's Kenny G.
It's not Kenny G. It's good jazz.
Good
It's
jazz. It's some Sammy Davis Jr.
there it is.
I was already looking for Kenny G.
It's definitely not Kenny G. It's good stuff. And so you start to move down the street for that. Are you guys all sticking together as a group, or are you releasing Team 2 to start their business?
Oh, I think we should separate unless there's a reason to stick around. I think as soon as we get to a point where it makes sense to separate, then go ahead and separate.
Probably just all look at each other and give the nod of,
yeah,
well, this is it.
Okay. Well, you guys head off down the street towards the music, and the other group heads off looking for someplace to begin hunting down creatures of legend that might have stuff.
There was an issue earlier with casting Sending. Was that only because it was outside of the Hells?
You don't know. I mean, I suppose you could have experimented with that on the boat.
Yeah.
You had a few days. And it does seem like that is, you cannot get a message out. But you could speak to each other.
Okay. So I think that should be something of just like, if you get a lead that seems to be, just keep everybody up to date.
Okay. They nod at you and off they go. And they look confused as you do. You guys continue on down the street. Everywhere you go, people just kind of stop and stare at you. And it's kind of a very odd feeling.
What if we just stop and stare back?
Okay.
just turns.
I love that you made it weirder somehow.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, they're races that we recognize, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a few that catch you as odd, but for the most part, they're all races you recognize. Yeah, they're stereotypical fantasy races.
I feel like
most of them are human, though, by and large. Were you going to say something?
I was gonna say I feel like someone or I will ask, why are they staring at us?
Sure. You walk up to one of them, and they say, well, they look at you very peculiarly. They're like, you don't know?
Yes, of course we know. We just want to hear you say it.
Huh. And they holds out their hand. They do one of these.
That's what I thought.
To your
Yeah.
wager.
I'm not gonna fork over for that.
They walk away.
Okay. Fair enough.
You should have just given him a high five.
Yeah.
Yeah. Handshake.
So you head down the street towards the music, and you come up to a place. It looks like a hotel. Looks like a hotel straight out of Bourbon Street when Bourbon Street had a lot of money. It is called the Spicy Nymph.
Jeez.
And the jazz is coming from in there. The Drow and Blood Legacy just walk straight through the doors.
You know, as we walk in here, I just have a little side comment to the three of us. We should, well, four of us. I meant three besides me, but we should open up a bar in our hold. No, in our hold.
Oh.
You have one.
Is it named after Phil?
No.
I feel like that would be something he would like. You just have a little
Filbert?
Mushroom?
Janky mushroom. That's it.
No. It's a janky shroom.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, it is the janky shroom.
And they've got the shroom rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, have the shroom room.
You guys kind of shrug after Blood Legacy and the Shadow Sisters walk through, and you look over at the Iron Vanguard, and they shrug back at you. And so the rest of you guys walk in, and you walk into a hotel that is elegant on the inside, but it has a feeling of grit.
I was gonna say, is it gross in here?
It's shabby chic.
It's not quite shabby chic. There's a lot of like dark stained woods and thick red carpets and burgundy drapes and things like that. And behind the counter are two very attractive elves, a male and a female, and they are dressed in as little possible leather strapping clothing as one could imagine.
They're just wearing belts.
Pretty much. And the guy looks and he's like, "Has visitors, more visitors. It's the first visitors we've had in so long." And the girl looks and she's like, "I know, brother.
Oh,
I really liked that the big one that came in just before these little ones here."
Big one.
She looks at Var.
Var.
Oh.
She's like, "Come on in, make yourselves at home. I'll send the waitress over shortly."
They're
All right.
weird.
Time for drinks, I suppose.
So you move in, and like this furniture is all like everything is covered in some sort of cloth and fabric, and it's all padded everywhere. And you guys move into the bar and drinking area, and across the way there is a man in a turban and long flowing robes playing the piano. That's where the jazz music is coming from. There's a similarly dressed human at the bar. He starts serving drinks to everybody who wants. Var just sets his bag of soul coins down on the counter and just opens it up.
Yeah. I will ask the waitress for a menu for information.
What did
A
you
menu-
just say?
You want a list of how much certain things cost?
Yes.
That's okay. She'll negotiate some things with you, but that's kind of a way too broad of a topic for me to like
Yeah, I
menu
know, that's-
out in an
That's
instant.
fine. I just wanted to like. I want to know how much things cost to get.
So yeah, the
The menu.
one of the barmaids, she lists off prices, and she reminds you that everything here costs at least a soul coin. Now, if you buy a round of drinks for your group, that's still probably a soul coin. If you buy a drink for yourself, also a soul coin.
Round of
Round
drink for the bar. How many soul coins is that?
Probably, well, there's really nobody else in here except the guy at the piano.
So it'd still just be one soul coin.
Mm-hmm. But that's she just says minimum transactions are a soul coin. So you want to make sure if and when you can, you stack stuff up.
Yeah. So there's no like.
Can we start a tab?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Like, how many
I'm gonna
people
hand over
pre-order-
two right away.
pre-order per soul coin?
Okay. So you let them know that you're opening a tab, and you're pre-ordering, per coin, and you're making sure she'll let you know when you cross barriers and thresholds and things like that. And then she starts to talk about information, and she lets you know the information can go from anywhere from a coin to your soul. Everything's for sale here.
Well,
If we wanted to know about, did we actually hear somebody say about something about the Exodus, or?
In the streets, you heard somebody talking about the Exodus.
Yeah.
So if I asked about the Exodus, how much would that cost?
1.
If I asked, would that be the limit of 1, or would I be able to ask more on?
Nope, that's a 1. That's a 1er.
That's 1. So I'll flip a coin and I'll flip her. I'll give her a coin.
Okay. She puts it in her strap, and she says, "About a month and a half ago, your time, about 2 years now, ours, maybe longer, a group of adventurers came through here, and all of the Hellborn left the Hells. It was an amazing event. Only one of them stayed behind. A woman, late 20s, early 30s maybe. They take her to the square every day, and Asmodeus beats the tar out of her and asks her if she's ready to go home. She hasn't left yet.
What's her name?
No,
Saint
in my
Kane.
mind I may say it's Kane, but I may ask her if she knows their name.
Oh.
The lady's
yeah.
name.
Everybody knows.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the more interesting things that happen around here now that all of our population's gone. At least all the Hellborn, anyways. Those of us who've lived here for a while, we're still here.
The Hellborn left because of that, or
They were rescued, so to
rescued?
speak.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Anything else you want to know?
But what's the difference between the Hellborn and those who stayed behind? Like, what do you call yourselves?
One coin.
I'm also going to see if that will cover.
Do I get any change?
Yeah, no. What was the other thing that I wanted to ask? I wanted to also ask that. So she immediately identified that like our time versus their time. So I'd want to ask it on top of that as well. So like, what's the difference between those two groups, and why can you tell that we're not from around?
Oh, okay. So the other one's going to be a 5-er, the time one. So it'll be 6 total.
Fine.
She will explain to you that the Hellborn were primers, people from the prime materials who were actually born here and were trying to work their way out. Almost none of them ever did. They built the cities here, filled it with shops, and carved out as good of a life as they could, with considering the restrictions upon them. Us? Well, the rest of us are fiends. We've lived here always. Time? Well, there's the Keeper of Time in the Tower of Justice. He'll ring the bell. Every day that a day goes by here, it's a certain amount of days for you back on the Prime.
Is that the bell we heard on the boat?
What boat?
Sorry, that was...
That'll be a
Wait.
coin.
Wait, she's asking. Yeah, if she's asking, like,
She'll pull the coin right out of her bra strap and slide it back across the counter. Tell me about your boat.
It has a dog on it.
said in the most Tony fashion. I love it.
It does. It does have a dog on it.
Hey, I'm not saying that you're lying. That's
real big dog.
completely accurate.
Do we have a sense of like how much information is expected?
We should tell her only about the boat. If she wants to know where the boat came from, that should be way more.
Sure, I can agree with that. You can go ahead and
She
explain
just asked
the boat.
about the boat, not where the boat is.
Right.
The physical qualities of the boat.
Yeah.
So you describe the boat to her, and she says, "Fascinating. So you just sailed the Sea of Styx." And she'll pull out 2 coins and slide them across the counter. Where did you come from?
I will explain Granite Back Keep to her.
That's good.
Oh, and also I'll even tell her about Bubble and how Dagon is a dick.
Yes, he is.
That's how we got here. Dagon sent us here, right?
No,
Is that an accurate statement? That's not an inaccurate statement.
It's not inaccurate.
I don't know how much further you want to go down that trail.
No,
We
that-
basically-
I would- Mind
that is where
Whisperer,
we came from.
that's good.
Yeah.
She's very fascinated by everything you just told her. So you're the Granite Backs, and you come from Granite Back Keep on the Prime. You picked a fight with the wrong Elder Demon Lord, and he sent you here.
Matt just kind of
Is there
nods.
a right,
That's a good summation.
right, Elder Demon Lord?
Well, she's like, there's some you might have been able to win a fight with, like Bill Dillaplop. You probably could have. I mean,
yeah, she did bite a guy's head off.
Fascinating. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
We need to get to Phlegathos.
Does her name cost a coin?
Um,
Or would she be willing to just give that?
She'll give it because names don't do what you want them to do here.
No, I just wanted to know her name.
Her name is Sarah.
I will bow gently and tell her my name as well as Jeffrey.
Yeah. I don't do the whole, like, necessarily names have power thing, especially over fiends. It's not, I think it's silly. Kind of, not really. It makes sense if you're calling them up, but if you just know it, it's... Yeah. So it was a pleasure to meet you, Jeffrey.
If we need to get to Phlegathos, what's the protocol for that?
Why would you want to go to Phlegathos?
We're just sightseeing.
Sorry.
We're in the 9 hells, so I mean we might as well see the 9 hells.
Mm-hmm.
Matt would nod. Like, actually, yes.
Well, you'll want to talk to somebody who has the power over the bridges. There's a number of lords in the area. I mean, you could talk to the Sultan right over here. He's just playing away at the piano.
Oh,
He's the Sultan?
Yes.
He looks like a...
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has a turban on. That makes him a
Wow. Wow.
Man.
Wow.
He's been known to make a deal.
None of us are wearing turbans, so it makes sense to me.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
She says there's several others in town. I could point you towards one if you would rather not deal with the Sultan, but one is really as good as any other.
Do we get the maybe this is retconning and maybe we didn't have this conversation, but with would we get the impression that the information we buy is accurate? Or is it up to the person selling it to literally just give us whatever information they want?
So far, you've gotten the impression that it's been accurate.
Okay.
There's a... Fiends have absolutely no problem deceiving you.
Right.
But... or more along the lines of loophole tricking you into something that you don't want to do. But like blatant, like in-your-face deception usually works against them.
So they probably mislead.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very least, only provide you a very basic understanding of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I just meant, is this a form of, like, I don't want to use the word contract, but is it because we're buying information? Is there any guarantee that the information moves? Because we can't like check out the we can't check out the product before we buy it.
Right. But if you believe you're not getting good information, you stop buying. So it is in the seller's interest to give you good information, unless it's something that they don't want to give.
Okay.
So when you haven't asked anything that you feel like isn't street knowledge.
Okay. But if she says one is as good as any, she's not.
You could make an insight check on something like that if you wanted to.
I mean, yeah, sure. I just think in the sense of like, Well, okay, 20.
Yeah. She probably has preferences, but you get the feeling like it's bad for business to not play them equally.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Okay.
But I would say with the 20, as far as whether or not any of them could come through for you, that's an accurate statement.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Like she might get some kickbacks if she gets talked to the guy if with the guy with the turban.
Yes, there's possibly that type of thing going on too. Certain deals, if you make them get her better deals, but she's not going to trash anybody who's a customer.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Did we order drinks?
Yeah, everybody's drinking.
What are they? What is?
I did for the bar.
It's they have a full array of top shelf here, so whatever you guys are after, you're drinking it.
Are we drinking Soylent beer?
Ugh.
Is this people?
You don't think so? You hope not. You could ask.
Is this people? Is this soul? Is this soul juice?
Juice.
Do you squeeze souls and turn them into?
No, they're far more valuable as currency. What do you people up there think goes on down here?
All kinds of
everything
crazy stuff.
he just said.
Yes.
You people.
She shakes her head, and she's like, I'm no good at this. I used to be a tailor.
She just insinuated that we're the ones who are
the
totally messed up. Yeah.
What did we get as far
We're
as
the weird ones.
They call themselves something down here because
there were living down here a group of people known as the Hellborn that were born down here, or individuals like yourselves that had become trapped and not been able to leave.
And they were from the front.
They're all gone.
They're all gone.
Yep.
And everybody left is a fiend.
Everyone left is fiends.
Except for Kane. Well,
there might be a few others like you guys, but for the most part, by and large, it is a safe assumption that the population is 1,000 to 1 fiends.
I'm not too sure about Kane.
And that's all Kane's fault.
No, it's not Kane's fault.
Well, she was
It's
involved.
always Kane's fault.
It was some other party who dragged Kane with them.
Yep, pretty much.
Meanwhile, she's in the front dragging him like, no, we're going to hell.
It was funny because Mike asked me one day, like a while ago, he's like, would Kane want to go to Avernus? Yes, she wants to go.
Yep.
Would she answer why everybody is looking like humanoids? If they're fiends, why are they not fiendish?
That's a golder.
Okay.
So take another one out.
Yep.
You gotten 3 back. I know Ryan gave up 6. You gave up, I think, 3 now.
I only gave up 1.
Okay.
But then
Ryan gave up 6.
6 plus
Adam
2.
gave up 1. Tony gained 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Plus the beer.
She would be like, "Oh, this is our uncursed state. Here in Avernus, we look the way we were created to look. Or at least similar. We no longer have our wings or any of those trappings, and we can't shift forms like we used to be able to. But, yeah.
Uncursed.
did that happen with the... When did that happen?
At the fall.
No,
When they were cast out.
When they were uncursed.
Oh, in Avernus, we always look in our natural state.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So only those of us who have done something worthy of living here are allowed to stay.
Okay.
Something worthy.
And if you leave, that's when you look fiendish.
That's such a trash word to say it like that.
Oh, well, you know what I mean.
I do, as a matter of fact. And she gets all snotty about it.
All right. All right.
She'll put another coin up on the table. How come you don't have a tour guide?
We requested the expedition package.
We I think I did ask for a tour guide, and we were told we'd find one where we were going.
Did we?
I think so.
I think that should be our in-character conversation.
Sure, I appreciate that.
It's fascinating. I wonder if they've done away with the Roger program because of Roger.
Well, I'll just tell her, well, clearly they did, or we would have a tour guide.
She smiles. Okay.
Who's Roger? I'll slide a coin.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah,
Roger?
that's totally.
I need to know about this Roger program.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
We started with 250, right?
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Each of us, though.
I'm the
right?
only
Right,
one who's
right.
made profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm picking up that other soul coin that slid across the
Man,
table.
she saw you come in. She saw you come in. She just laid out that Roger program out there, and you just bit it up.
Yeah.
Well,
Zing it
Sultan's
up.
over there chuckling a little bit, laughing.
This is interesting. This is very interesting to me. Because you obviously came here through unconventional means.
Yeah.
Yeah, we died.
As travelers. I mean, no, you didn't die. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But and she leans forward, she's like way forward. She's like, most of travelers, they come to the top of the mountain first, where they meet their Raja. It's an imp named Raja. There's thousands of them. They work in an office building. They're tour guides. They follow newcomers around for their first few days here, helping them to acclimate. I wonder if when the Hellborn left and he threw... She stops talking. Maybe Roger broke it.
Can we go get a Roger?
I would respond.
This is
She's
where
like,
you ask-
I don't...
This is where you ask
She
Brooke
looks
what?
genuinely surprised. I don't know.
Guys, let's go get a Roger.
I want to look at her and just be like, you never answered who Roger was.
Oh,
An imp. Are you talking about the Roger who broke the Roger?
The Roger.
The Roger.
The Roger. That one.
the Roger.
Yes. So, I'm going to need some money.
How much?
2.
Yeah, all right.
We leave the inn.
She gets
has no
super
money.
gossipy about it. Meanwhile, everybody else is just drinking, and Var has both of the door people on his lap. And there's giggling coming from over there, and the Iron Vanguard looks really uncomfortable, but the Drow they look right at home. Everybody else is seeming to fit in. You can also tell that the Drow are very much listening to everything that's happening over here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not necessarily trying to hide it. They're paying attention. And so Sarah, she gets really flirty now. She's like, well, Raja was one of the Rajas, and he was assigned to a group of young ladies that came through here who had come to redeem a soul from the Sultan. And you hear, when she says that, you hear the keys on the piano get even more discordant. Like he screws his own jazz up. Like he's not happy about that. But he did make out in the deal in the end, and she says that louder. And he continues to play. She's like, they also went and dealt with the blonde girl's parents who were captured by a devil there. But Roger was their tour guide, and they never dismissed him. And they dragged him through several domains of hell on various adventures and things. And Roger developed, and she gets like this look on her face, like she's like throwing up in her mouth a little bit. A conscience.
Wow.
That's my favorite thing I've ever heard you say, Mike.
And so he was banished, and the program was renamed the William program. And the next group to come through was a group of bards who got a William, but he was vastly inferior. So maybe they're just not doing it anymore.
Well, how long ago did that bards come through? Our time.
Just very recently. They headed off to see the Duke, and apparently they're kind of a big deal now.
Yeah.
And she puts her hand out.
Yeah, I'll give her a coin.
5.
For
3,
what I'm about to tell you.
2, 1.
Oh, I'll go to give her 4 and be like, I'll give you the extra one if it was worth it.
Apparently they're still here. They've been waiting in customs for a long time. And when they finally got out, they were hauled straight into Asmodeus's throne room.
I'll flip her the extra coin.
I told you it was juicy.
Wow. Wow. All right.
They're stuck in customs. Is there any way to keep them there?
Oh, they're already out? I mean, are you looking to keep them in the hells? Because they're having dinner with Asmodeus. They're not going anywhere. And they're bards.
Yup.
That's where they belong.
Yup.
Almost every last one of them ends up down here.
Yup.
Hey, does that mean what's our bard's name?
Jeff?
No.
Oh.
That died?
Philomena?
Oh.
Yeah.
Philomena?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask about her.
Oh, she wouldn't know.
Oh,
She
okay.
wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah.
I mean, she said all the bards end up down here. So
You could ask if there's like a
Most of
for
them.
souls.
Oh, there would be.
Is it possible to like impose ourselves into that dinner?
Is it possible? Yes. Should we? Probably not.
I have so many not questions. I just want to ruin things.
Yeah, that's probably why we shouldn't.
That's fair. All right. This girl, this is the girl that runs the bar, or she's just a
She's one of the bartenders.
she's a bartender, but
Yep.
she doesn't own the bar.
The twins run the establishment.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask her if
With
she
Spicy Pixie.
would like to be our tour guide.
Oh gosh, no.
No?
I did
No,
my time in the cubicles.
She might get a conscience.
That would
No, she would have explained to you that an imp waits in a cubicle for centuries until somebody summons it as a familiar, or to do some task for it on the prime, or they get assigned a tour group. And she's done her time in the cubicles, and she's not going back.
Gotcha.
She used to be an imp.
She got promoted.
I think everyone at one point starts off as an imp and then turns into other stuff as they.
Becomes more powerful.
Do their time.
I'm gonna slide a gold across to her, and I'm gonna ask her what she was before she got here. Or no, she already said she was born here, didn't she?
Yeah, she's a fiend.
Okay, so she wouldn't have been a human at some point.
You
No.
can ask her what she did to be allowed into Avernus.
That's what I was thinking.
That's a good question. I don't want to ask that though. I don't think that's worth a coin. I don't care. I'm only spending coins on things I care about.
So you guys are discussing that in your telepathic bond, and a hand comes between your groups, and you notice you've been so enthralled with Sarah in the questions you've been asking her, you didn't notice the jazz had stopped, and he sets down a pouch of coins on the counter, and he says, "Sarah here, seduce the paladin. He's in a trophy room."
Oh.
Oh.
No bueno.
Oh,
And she looks at him and she's like, "That's my story to tell." And he's like, and the Sultan says, "I paid you double."
Wow.
So that's what the money's for.
the coins are for her.
Yeah.
That was slick. I like that guy. Oh, he can hear our brains though.
I don't like that connotation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks at you as you think that and nods.
Alright.
I was having such a hard time playing through all of the racket.
You're telling me, and I'll just think that. The constant humming
So-
is terrible.
I am always humming. I'm sorry.
You would
Not
like
sorry.
to get into Felagiths.
Yes.
I can get you that.
What's it going to cost?
This was way too easy. I feel like there was some.
No, it's not too easy. The cost is you have to murder your children.
Oh,
No.
well, that's convenient. I can't have those.
But I do want you to murder somebody for me.
Of course.
See, I wasn't far off. Who? Sarah?
She just looks at you. Pops an eyebrow.
That
There's
was great.
a card shark over in Nightborough that I owe some amount of debt to. I am not allowed to eliminate him, but
But we are.
If you hire us to kill somebody,
I have not hired you for anything. I've simply let you know of a situation that I have that I would be grateful if it was resolved.
Before we go making any decisions about this, I think so. But he's not asking us.
No.
I would never ask such a thing.
Yeah, of
He's
course not.
implying it.
So then I would never imply that he has to tell us that there might be consequences for us eliminating this individual depending on who they're tied to.
Well, of course there's consequences.
There's always consequences.
There are
course.
always
so
consequences.
the only way
I
to
suppose-
get out of this is
Suppose
to
he
murder
doesn't know what
every
those
single
consequences
person.
might be.
Yes, Thanik, that is.
Murder everyone.
Yeah.
In this instance, I can imagine you would probably be hunted for a good long time as his employer is seeking revenge. But if you can handle him, you could probably handle anything that they throw at you. So, no big deal. He is, what's the phrase, top of the food chain, so to speak.
And hamburgers.
What would normal cost the passage be? In Soul
Between
Coins.
out into the domains,
Yes.
it would probably be I don't have any direct favors to Felgus right now, so it would be close to 3,000 soul coins from me. You might be able to find a better deal elsewhere, but there's no charge, only consequences for what I'm offering you.
Yep. I'm aware of what you're implying.
Yeah, and this is just for a single lead.
Yeah, which we don't even.
We can go there and it might not even be there.
Yeah.
I would very nicely tell the Sultan to close his ears for a second.
He pulls his turban down all tight.
Yeah. I would just point out. I'm not gonna argue one way or another outside of this. Everybody down here is down here because they deserve to be down.
So my question to Mike, DM Mike, is going to be
Mhm.
philosophically, how does the Order feel about, well, hell?
Murdering people in hell, murdering demons.
Well, philosophically, if everybody down here's left is a fiend, they're not going to care. it's you're ridding the world of a problem.
And would we know what happens to a fiend when you kill it in hell?
It's dead.
Mav is all in.
Yeah.
On one condition. It's going to cost him more than
Just passage.
just passage.
What else might you be looking for?
A bag of holding for one.
Oh yeah, Mav, get it.
I can make that happen.
And a
As a
future
matter
favor.
of fact, I just came into possession of a shop that was left behind by a gnome who left in the Exodus.
And then the third thing, or second thing, Mav is going to pull out a piece of paper for a contract.
Pull out a piece of paper.
For a contract.
I cannot sign that and do what you're asking you to do.
True.
But can Sarah?
Nope.
Hey, could we? You said a gnome. Could we?
Mav is going to imply that he would like a favor, for no strings attached.
Yeah, a future favor.
A future
we
favor,
also-
and he will get a hold onto the contract for now.
Can we also look at what the gnome had?
Yeah, sure. He would let you look at the the inventory of the gnome shop.
Yeah.
It would have to be a favor in line with a reward equal to what was left after the other asks.
Sure.
Okay. So after transportation in and
Nothing
out,
major.
and
Just
bag of holding, just a genuine, low key, maybe minorly significant favor.
yep.
Make a persuasion check.
At advantage.
I was gonna say, is Jeffrey able to help with that or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. You can make that an advantage.
I mean, we're all talking psychically, so
Everybody else is just staring at us. We're all just staring at each other.
people's nose are
Not a
bleeding.
word being said.
Sarah doesn't seem to think this is unusual at all. Oh.
I would like to use my war gong.
Oh, okay. Aw.
Oh.
It's still a very good roll. He'll agree to that. That he suggests then that we write up the contract for an exchange of services of equal value. Then the contract can be terminated by either party at any time, but any services rendered need to be paid for.
Equal value.
Is he able to tell us anything about this fella he wants killed, or like some details? Anything that would help or hinder us?
He asks if you're familiar with the hierarchy of fiends.
I don't think we
Tony is. Jeffrey would not.
I don't think the granite backs are. Well, I mean,
Okay.
maybe Mav would be.
Mav might be.
Maybe to some deal.
To some degree. Would that be an Arcana check?
It would be a history check, probably a religion check, actually.
Yeah, that's probably not great.
All right. So you're a little on the down low of you explain a little bit to me. He's like, you're not far off, but we're more than just imps, succubuses, and pit fiends. So the creature you will be battling is known as an Amenzu. It is in your eyes on the Prime, a disgusting blob of decadence. here, he is going to look like a very sophisticated, well-polished gambling man. He's smart, and he has bodyguards. I would not...
We have bodyguards, and I'm just going to look down towards...
Whatever.
The Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at... He's like, that should be helpful. Be ready for mind-controlling attacks.
Is it low enough that my counter charm would be able to help with it?
I'm not familiar enough with how counter charm works. I know it can disrupt things, but is it like if it's over your DC, does it get disrupted? How does it work exactly?
I'm looking. So counter charm. You use your action to do a performance or a small medley of words. During that time, you and any friendly creature within 30 feet of you have advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed. Okay.
I mean, it doesn't list a DC off, so you would be able to use counter charm and have advantage against it.
Okay. Do we know of anything that protects against charming?
I mean, there's magical items that do it, but otherwise you want to look at magic like counter charm. There's nothing that can make you immune to it.
Right, that was basically the question.
Yeah. I mean, it would depend on the power of the charm, too. You might be able to be immune to low-level charms. He tells you that this creature's abilities will not be low-level.
Okay.
So he says if there are people in your entourage that you don't want turning on you,
yeah,
it might not be a bad idea to attempt to take him out with a limited force.
Yeah, I think what we'll end up probably doing is trying to separate him from his bodyguards, put the Vanguard and the sisters on the bodyguards, and we will try and take him out as the group of us. Does he have a routine or a schedule?
You'll find him nightly at the Waterfall Casino in Nightborough.
Nightly in the Waterborough. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna stay. I think we'll want to stalk him a little bit. See if we can find a place that he is vulnerable. And then if we can find a way to maybe even infiltrate his guards in some way.
The Sultan would tell you that's probably not going to happen.
Oofda.
Because you're mortals.
Yeah, I was going to say we stick out too much here. That's...
Yep.
Yeah,
your best bet, he tells you, is to challenge him in the casino. He'll have minimal guards with him. If you follow him to his compound, the Sultan says it would be much like me. There would be hundreds of armed guards in his compound.
Yep.
He would only travel with 2 of them to the casino. And if you can get him to start the fight, the casino security will not interfere.
Yep. That was going to be my next thing. If we can find a way to get him to bet something that he would rather fight than lose, and we win, that would be a surefire way to not have ramifications for our actions, where we would be faultless and maybe not as long hunted.
The other thing is the debt that you owe. If we know how much that is, and we get that from him and pay it, and just give it to you instead of fighting him, but you know what I mean? Like if we're able to like, is it a specific object or something?
It would be more. It's worth more than the value of your entire entourage's souls. It is not something that will be won
Mav just looks at his spear and is like, this dainty little thing? I mean, it's not even magical.
Souls, not
He wants
swords.
to guide that.
Swords.
Souls.
Swords.
Alright.
He says this one is part of our agreement. Things here ramp up in cost quite quickly. Information is the cheapest of currencies.
Alright.
Okay. Let's go kill us a mob boss.
A gambler, yeah. I want to. So yeah, we'll see if we can find something that we can get him to bet at that he would.
Do we know
be
what kind of
confident in.
connections this guy has? What's his name?
The Sultan.
No, the guy that we're gonna kill.
His name is... Where'd it go? I just had it up. Muliark.
Muliark. Does Sultan know of any connections that are dear to this Soliak, and then we can, or Muliak or whatever his name is, and then we can take that and pick a fight with him that way.
He doesn't recommend that. And he leans forward. He's like, since we have a working agreement now, let us speak somewhat plainly. I will guard my thoughts and my secrets, but you work for me, and I help you now.
Sure.
So I don't want you getting in extra trouble. It might surprise you to find out that we fiends here have quite a few laws that govern our behavior. Stealing, kidnapping, things of that nature, that's brutish. You'll find that in the outer realms, but not here in Avernus. That causes legal ramifications of the highest order.
Okay.
That is something that neither of us ever want to deal with.
Neither of us being like us and him, or neither of us being him or the other guy.
Everyone involved.
Yes.
No one wants to be breaking those kinds of laws. Not in Avernus.
Good to know.
He said that he'll say that is a good way to get a trip to the cavern.
Is there a list of these laws or unallowed things?
It will surprise you. He'll go over a few things with you. It is surprisingly similar to what you would expect of laws on the Prime to be. Murdering and all sorts of things like that are not smiled upon. You'd think they would be down here, but they're not. You're to do your best to play fairly, to deal with people honestly. He does say that obviously there's shenanigans and things that happen, and things that go on, but it needs to, at least paperwork-wise, seem on the level, or you need to be really good at what you do.
Right. And he has us looking to kill somebody, which means we need to find a way to make it his fault, or we will be in trouble with the law.
Yeah.
And that is why he suggested that you pick the fight with him. Or you can let him pick the fight with you.
Right. Okay. Okay. I think we can figure that out. Yeah.
Have you guys seen Fight Club?
Yeah.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
I am running this in my head, and it's turning into like it is remarkably hard to pick a fight with someone. It is remarkably hard to get somebody to fight you. So the one time that we're trying to do it, I feel like it's not gonna happen.
I think you're wrong. I think we'll get it.
Okay.
What is going on with that? What's the as far as like casting spells and stuff, I'm asking the Sultan. Casting spells in the casino.
Don't get caught cheating.
But if I were to cast a spell on the Sultan, not on the Sultan, on the other guy.
On Moliarch?
Yeah, on Moliarch. Would that in and of itself cause any alarm? As long as...
It would really depend on what you were doing with it in the spell. But most likely, it's going to cause alarm.
I assume this guy's probably got some legendary
Probably. And those are the worst.
Yeah.
You guys want to fight?
Freaking best line. In
How do you start a fight?
You guys want to fight?
I love that show.
Frickin'.
I was thinking about like casting enemies abound, which would immediately make him just fight everybody.
I mean, if he failed his save and he doesn't have legendary saving throws, yes. But
if he has legendary saving throws, that causes trouble real fast.
Yeah.
Because then he also knows you cast a spell, and he's going to be pissed.
Which also might work out okay.
Well, then we're at fault again. Then
I was trying to give you some mage armor.
Yep. So the Sultan says, well, if you don't have any other questions, perhaps we should go to the warehouse and I can show you what's left of the halfling's goods.
Yes.
Or the gnome's goods.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be nice.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be great if the rod was in there? Yeah.
Be like, this mundane item.
Yeah.
What will that cost us? Here's a soul coin.
So as you're leaving, are you bringing everybody with you? Or
yeah, we'll let them look through the goods too.
At the very least, let's bring a representative of every group. Whether or not everybody wants to go, all like how many people is it?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean it might be.
It's another like 8 or 9 people.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, we can leave them to cruise if they want.
Yeah, no, it's like 13 more people. So there's a couple of that tag along. Representative from the other groups. You go to the warehouse. There's not much good left in here. He takes you to one of his warehouses. He calls them. This is where most of his more mundane items are stored. And he's pointing around, and he's like, and he tells you where he's acquired certain things. Most of it makes no sense to you at all. And he says, "This row there, I won this gambling on how long Lady Kane would stand up in her first fight against Asmodeus. She made it 32 seconds.
Nice.
2 seconds more than I needed to win."
Yeah.
And that's just a row of interesting treasures. There is a large crystal with a man in it. That you notice. He says that's one of his more recent acquirements. He doesn't quite know what he's going to do with that yet. He's had it about a year and a half now.
Our time or their time?
He's communicating in your time. About a year and a half in your time. And then he leads you to a shelf of the gnome's goods. There are several minor magical items here. There's things like out of Xanathar's guide, like spice turners and cloaks of billowing, that type of stuff. Nothing super fancy or interesting, but a few things here and there. And then he points you up towards the bag of holding. There's some rope that's healing rope, where if you put it back together after you cut it, it reweaves itself. The drow's kind of interested in that. She's like, "Oh, I could find a lot of uses for this."
Yeah.
And he's like, "By all means, help yourself. Here's your bag that you are looking for."
Giggity.
So now that I've almost killed what's his name, Alex, I'm concerned about every bag of holding I find.
I was gonna say, so first off, is it magical?
Yeah, it's definitely magical.
Second off, can we? Are you guys ready for me just to upend it?
Yeah, do it.
Can I look inside the bag and see if there's anything in it?
Yeah, there is this. There is something in it. You look inside, you start rooting around. You find something. You find a small statue of woven branches. It's got kind of a nutcracker appearance to it.
I'm gonna take it out of the bag.
Okay. It's made almost just like our Christmas nutcrackers. It's got a little lever in the back. Its jaw pops open. It looks like if you manipulate the lever.
Is it magical?
It is magical.
Yeah. No, that's trinkety.
Is it the form of Timmy?
I may look at the feet and ask if it says Blinsky at the bottom.
Yeah, no, it does not say Blinsky. There's no Blinsky mark on it.
No Blinsky is no fun.
We don't know who Blinsky is anyway.
Just a strange little statue that is leaking a little bit of conjuration magic.
Conjuration.
We'll save that for another day.
I say we just sell that to somebody. That doesn't even seem...
You never know, Tony.
I don't. That's the problem.
So
We'll
he's
hold on to that
giving
for
that
another
to
day.
us?
What?
He's giving that to us?
Yeah, this is part of the agreement that you guys hatched as you're continuing in your working agreement.
Including this little nutcracker?
Well,
golem?
it came with the bag.
You pull it out of there, and he kind of raises his eyebrow, and he's like, I suppose I should check such things.
Yeah, all right.
Before. That doesn't affect our agreement, though, does it?
No, absolutely not. It was in the bag. You got the bag. What's that? He kind of like looks over. He's like, what else is in the bag?
Now I was going to be looking in a second. Thanik, you want to start identifying?
I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah, I can do that.
Put it in the
I'm
bag.
going to keep looking in the bag while he starts that.
Okay.
The bag.
You want me to do an Arcana check?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to? Are you checking the statue or the bag?
The statue.
Okay.
It's an Arcana check plus 10. Is that what it is?
Yep. Okay. Real good. Good grief. So,
Okay.
you're looking at the statue, and you realize that the build of this statue isn't what's magical. It's not actually the statue at all that's magical. It's whatever's inside of it. And so you begin to peel it and manipulate it, and you pull out a good-sized vial crammed with a red pudding-like liquid. And at the exact same time, Mav goes, hey, there's a name tag inside of this bag that says Filbert Granite Bag.
What?
Absolute true story.
What?
Did they sell the bag?
And you realize the Sultan backs up when he sees the red liquid. He's like, that is very bad.
We know.
Yeah.
No, you do not. Please return it to the bag, and then we need to see the authorities.
We're already going to jail. Dang it.
Put it back in the bag.
Does my identify tell me what this stuff is?
It's the blood pudding that you guys sent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you guys sold to Hannah, that Hannah booby trapped the bards with, but the bards didn't bite on the booby trap, so they just ditched it. And it ended up, they traded it off with this gnome. And so it ended up in the shop. And this is a serious, like, legitimate, convoluted series of events. And I had forgotten all about it until you went, does he have a bag of holding? Yes,
And you were like, yes.
He does have a bag of holding.
Wow, we've come full circle. That's so crazy.
So we're taking our bag to the authorities.
Yep. So turns out you go with the Sultan. You head down the street. You find some Goliath-looking humanoids. he lets you know that these are Baylors and they are not to be trifled with. So please be on your best behavior. He tells them that you are independent contractors working for him, and while examining a magic item, that a contagion was found.
Okay.
And they ask him what it is, and he says it's a blood ooze. And they look scared. You don't even need to make an insight check.
Wow.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't have said anything, and we should just drop that on the gambler.
And so they go inside. They bring everybody in. They put you in a magical cell with the Sultan, and in the middle of that cell is a form of portable hole, except at the bottom of this one is a swirling black void, and they ask you to drop it in there.
The whole bag, or just the
vial?
Just the vial.
I'll do it.
Okay, so you upend the bag, you dump it out into there. As it hits the vortex, the blood pudding reacts as the crystal is smashed, and its tentacles come flying up out of the hole, and it's reaching for the fiends. And the Sultan starts screaming like a 6-year-old girl, and it disintegrates inches from touching him, and he is visibly sweating. And he's like, I have perspirated.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
But the item is disposed of, and you are free to go. But they do let you know that you are under watch.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
Frick. Oh crap. Oh crap.
Huh.
Well, that could have gone worse. Jeffrey's just like, well, on to the next thing.
That could have gone a lot worse.
Do we get a sense of why the fiends are so afraid of the blood ooze?
You do not. They're just terrified of it. You could ask.
I don't remember exactly what it does. What does it do?
For you guys, it had some vampiric qualities to it.
Yeah. It wasn't terrible. It was just not good.
You found it in the Aarakocra tomb.
Yeah.
And you fought it down there. It definitely had some life-draining properties to it. You do believe it might have been involved with transforming the Aarakocra into vampires?
Yeah.
But you didn't know much more about it than that. You just gathered up some of it before you killed it and shoved it into 2 vials. One of which already broke down here and caused quite a stir.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's right.
And the other one got made into this statue and left with the bards.
And they didn't take the bite.
They didn't take the bite. It was just too weird for them. Hannah played it really poorly.
Oh.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
Yep. I was really hoping you guys were just going to walk out of here and not look in the bag. I was like, oh boy, here it comes. This is going to come out later.
Well, it totally would have, because I've been like, hey, it's a summoning tool. Let's summon something when we need help.
Yeah.
Well, and I was still going to just tell you that it will summon an ooze-like creature when you use the handle. But you rolled a 35 on your check.
Yeah.
So...
So don't do that.
Okay.
We need to go back to the bar for our peoples.
Yep.
Yeah. And when we get there, Mav goes up to the bartender and asks her if she wants to hear a funny story.
She's like, well, you left with the Sultan. That's always a good story. So I'll put some coins up for that. And she puts a stack up. She's like, tell me the story and I'll decide how much to give you.
He just kind of whispers to Jeffrey, I need some tunes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will start playing the Benny Hill music.
So do you recount the entire tale of finding
boy.
them, and then? Oh man!
Excellent.
Including the Baylor's reactions, of course.
Oh yeah! So you start to tell her, and the minute you get to finding the blood oozes in that tomb the first time, she looks visibly uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has perspirated.
She's like, I don't know why this horror movie has this silly music over it.
Oh, it's not only silly, it's amazing.
That is what? So Mav busting that 20 out and telling the story, and Jeffrey busting that 20 out in the performance of it.
I have perfectly timed like guitar riffs when he tells like a part of the story that's like super
It
scary.
is just this epic thing, and she's terrified. It's like somebody watching the scariest movie of their life. Then you get to the part where it was here, and she starts to cry.
Are we heroes? Are we heroes?
I don't know if we're heroes or
I
if
think we're heroes.
And then you let her know that you killed it. You took it to the Baylor, and they dropped it into the void well, and she gets this smile on her face, and you can tell she's trying really hard to have a genuine smile, like she feels genuinely happy, but she's so overwhelmed with the fear and terror that you just inflicted upon her that she can't smile.
Oh,
Jeez,
And it's just, and so she looks at the stack of 5 coins, and she rubs her eyes, and she goes under the counter, and she gets out 10 more.
yeah, boy.
Slots them across.
Now with that, will she additionally tell us about the first one?
Mav will slide back 3 coins.
She does. She says they had a big scare not too long ago when the girls who sailed the Sea of Styx came through. They had one of these with them as well. They broke the vial in the middle of the street, and it began consuming nearby fiends.
Oh, dear.
The girls killed it before it got out of control. But she basically explains to you that these things infect and consume feeds and add them to its power.
Holy crap.
These things, like there's never been one loose in Avernus. That the one that the girls dropped was the first one loose in Avernus, but they have wiped fiends out in other planes.
It's like a legit plague for them.
yeah.
It is a legit plague for them, and they don't live long. If once they stop consuming fiends, once they have started consuming fiends, they become something other than a blood ooze, and they don't live long after that. But it's a very scary thing for them.
Wow.
Yep.
Sweet.
Okay.
So yeah, like you basically just came back to the bar and told the sex worker the worst boogeyman story in the world, and it was real.
Yeah.
And she probably feels like she now has a disease from your story.
Could you imagine if we knew what that thing was and we just tossed it into the gamblers'
Oh
room?
man, the minute you said bag of holding, all of my plans for what you were about to do changed. I have to now take this into account. They might actually destroy this place. But they'll have to fight this thing.
No, run.
Yeah.
Let it feast.
and then just let it die.
It's like we
Alright,
would have
so-
ran to the Sultan and been like, we have to go. Now.
Yeah.
Right now. You can't
Yeah,
ask questions.
if we would have just dropped that at the gambler's place, like that.
I don't
That'd
even
be
know
game
that we
over.
would have like had the insight to do that at the time. Like we
We
might have
wouldn't
just been
have.
hanging the
It would have been completely accidental, and we would have went, oh shit, what did we just do?
If I did that Arcana check when the Sultan wasn't around, I totally would have had that idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally would have been like, what if it just like but I wouldn't have known it was that bad.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think causing genocide in the Hells might still be an evil action.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's gonna get us in trouble. But I'm kind of surprised, like, so we're under watch, even though I feel like
we're heroes.
It is,
but it sounded like a
likely,
negative thing. Is that accurate?
You know, it's more than likely we had an item. It got there somewhere or somehow. So, just because you come to the police station and drop off 20 pounds of cocaine that you found in the locker that you bought, doesn't mean that you didn't necessarily just want to get rid of that.
Yep. It's a suspicious happening. So,
that's a word.
Yep. Well, that was a neat little side adventure I didn't plan on. I thought we'd end the night getting into a fight. Any other questions you guys want to ask before we call it for an evening then?
Oh, well, let's call it.
All right.
No, I think if the only thing that I would be concerned about is, and the Sultan might know this, but how long are we under watch? And being under watch, how does that change your plans?
It shouldn't change your plans much. It actually might help you in the long run. Because if you're under watch and you legitimately get Moliarch to pick a fight with you,
we're being watched, and there's eyes that see that.
The police would join our side.
Or at least not cart anybody involved off for questioning.
Yeah. Yep.
So he would say that this has probably worked out in our favor.
All right. Good to know.
Yep.
Cool. It's awesome.
So then next week we will have a Casino Royale episode.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Is Jeff still wearing his
tracksuit?
Absolutely.
So I think that automatically makes him the one that we're betting on, correct?
The Russian mob.
Yeah, he's totally the one that's at the table.
Yeah.
I can't believe that bag came full circle.
Yeah,
dude.
I am
like I said, I had forgotten totally about it because when the bards didn't bite, I was like, "Oh, this is gone. This will never come back around."
Yeah.
And then you said it, and I was like, "Oh, it's here! It's here!"
I'm just like, I know
so
that
disappointing.
It's just incredible. It's so incredible.
Amazing.
I love it. It's probably one of the most genuine accidental full circle moments in our West Marches world.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, there's been things that I have intentionally shenanigans to crossover, but this was 100% all on. The only intention I ever had was to make sure all of my currently playing groups get to visit my iterations of Hell, which you guys aren't picking up on this because the Hellborn are gone, but this place is still awful for most people. You're under visitor status still, so you're not affected by it yet, but anybody who actually lived here never got anything they wanted. So if you were a shopkeeper and all you ever wanted was a blueberry pie, every time you tried to have pie, you would have gotten like raspberries that you're allergic to. Or some other terrible thing would have happened to you and just created a life of misery for you. And so it still had a punishment feel to it, even though everything looked beautiful. Like most of the people here develop allergies and sunlight sensitivity, and so it's like it's beautiful outside, but you can't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
it makes you miserable. And Nightborough, you'll come to find out, would have been the exact opposite, where you get everything you wanted, but it's never enough to make you happy. So Nightborough would have been filled with junkies and people with gambling addictions that are always just getting strung along far enough, and they're put into that position until they're willing to make a deal to get out of it, and then they're stuck.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what's actually happening here. And I would think with the good relationship you now have built up with Sarah and with the Sultan, you would have been able to put that stuff together. They would have filled you in on it. But just because of what the Girl Squad did to the Hells, it doesn't work that way here right now. Not at least till it gets repopulated.
I'd say so. It's probably going to fill back up and return to that state.
Yep. Eventually, it will.
But right now,
Yep.
there's very.
Interesting.
So Hellborn, is that like two people that come down? Like if we got stuck down here and made babies, or
Yep. Yep. The people who got stuck down here also inherited the title, but there was a class distinction between the two going on amongst the populace. If you were a newcomer, it'd be like being an islander on like some East Coast, like in Martha's Vineyard. You're born in Martha's Vineyard, sure. Then you're a local, or you could move there. It's new money, old money type thing.
Yeah.
And so there was a little bit of class distinction going on, but for the most part, if you weren't a fiend and you were just stuck here or you were born here, you were a Hellborn.
It's crazy.
But they all live someplace else now. Well, and oddly enough, that deal screwed all of the Edenites too, the people who were born in Celestia, under similar circumstances, and everything
did
was
it really?
great. They are all together now in a very neutral place.
which help half the people and hurt the other half.
Yep.
So Kane doesn't know that.
Nope. Well, yeah, actually, she probably does.
Oh.
She's pretty self-centered. She figures she got a prize for down to here. She just go for it.
No. You're missing the whole thing. She found out she got to have an eternal fight with Asmodeus and was like, sign me up.
She got something out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond that, she didn't care about any of it.
She's like, I don't care about helping them.
Yeah. That's great. All right, I'm going to go eat.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
All right,
Have a good night, everybody.
Night, guys.
Night.